All right, so we'll call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. We will review the agenda for any additions, removals, or adjustments.
There are a couple of items, some questions have come up about appropriations and process. A couple of entities did not, they kind of missed the petition part of it, and so there's a question about how they can proceed.
They have until the 18th to get them in, correct?
So they.
I spoke with one of them and I spoke with the 4th of July committee and they're all set, so
They're gonna try and get signatures?
they are gonna get the signatures.
Okay, well then we just have the other one that isn't going to get signatures. They went to their previous amount, which was lower.
They are unable to get signatures?
They weren't able to do it because they usually do it at town meeting the year before,
Ah,
and they didn't do it, so they were hoping, because this was supposed to be year 2,
yeah.
that they could just go back to the
previous
lower
one.
amount before they asked for the increase.
Was it a huge difference in their increase?
Went from 1,150 to 1,500,
Okay.
so it wasn't a lot. Yeah,
Some,
so
okay.
they wanna know if they can just stay with the previous amount,
Yes,
if we'll waive them or
we
Previous
don't,
amount, meaning the one that was on
11.
last year, or the
before
one
last
before that?
year. Yeah,
we don't, in the past, when somebody's asked for less, we haven't made them petition, so I would say we've set the precedent.
cause that's the amount,
That's the amount they had already
They had it.
petitioned.
Right.
That had been
Right.
petitioned
They've been
previously.
approved,
Okay.
yeah.
okay.
So that was easy, we took care of that. Look at us moving right along.
Before we even put it on the agenda.
Right? So thank you all for joining us this evening. If you're joining us via Zoom, I guess it's just Meredith. Hi, Meredith.
And Jill and Si.
Oh, and Jill and Si. Oh, there you are. Yep,
They're in the black.
they're in the one. All right.
They're driving or somewhere.
There it
They're in a
is.
hole.
Yeah.
Maybe they're actually working in a hole.
What is going on there? No, don't tell us.
Don't tell us. So just a reminder, if you're joining via Zoom, to please mute yourself and wait to be acknowledged by myself or one of the other board members before you speak.
And
All right, public forum. Is there anyone here for public forum this evening? Not seeing any. Move on. We're gonna skip our department head roundtable. Do the brilliant suggestion from our police chief, because we have a lot on our agenda this evening. If there's something you think we should all know about, please send us an email. We would love to hear about things that way. I think that will suffice. So moving on to regular business. Review the consideration of Energy Committee candidate David, tell me your last name.
Flash and rain?
Flasher Rain? Yeah. To fill a vacant seat that runs to March 2024. May include deliberation and executive session. Would you like to tell us why you're interested in the position?
Sure. So well, thanks for inviting me here. I applied for the position because I've been an architect for 35 years with a sort of a keen interest in sustainability through that. First off, early on in energy efficiency, but now kind of expanding that to like decarbonization, buildings, and electric vehicle infrastructure. So, what I'd like to do is join the community in trying to, look at sustainability in town, and I know that in the past there has been some consideration of electric vehicle charging stations, et cetera. I have a little bit of background in that as well, so I feel like I'm a pretty good fit for the committee.
Great. Have you attended any of the meetings or met with the other committee members?
I have attended one meeting and met with the people that were on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other questions?
No, it's not a long time to serve to decide
No.
if you want to be appointed, so.
I know.
Right. Valerie had mentioned all of those seats are 1-year appointments, so they'll need to be reappointed anyway.
So how do we change that where it fits the rest of our committees? It's
So
the
they're
only one.
staggered?
Yes, it's because it was done that way because it had been sort of defunct for a long time, and then I think it was myself who sort of got it, I joined and then tried to get other people to join, and I think that's why everyone joined at the same time and it was never staggered. But how would we officially sort of change that? Because I think we should.
Change the term.
Do it.
Yeah.
But you could change
Okay.
this to say he's here until 2026 for 2025. I mean, is there a
That's
reason
true.
we can't do
How
that?
many years would you like to serve?
3 years.
3 years.
Okay. I mean, so why don't we, yeah, can we do that then?
Sure. In other situations, the select board has left it up to committee members to
Okay.
determine what terms they wanted. Some of them were 3-year terms, some were 2-year terms.
Yeah.
And the folks just picked among themselves, okay, I'll take the 1-year seat, I'll take the
Okay.
2-year seat, and then kind of reported back.
Okay.
And we would reflect that on the website, just to keep track of it,
Yeah.
and in the town report.
Yeah,
So it's been, in other words, delegate it to the committee
Okay.
to decide if the select board wants to already make a decision that, okay, from now on, everybody's going to be a 2-year term, but let's stagger it. Or a
Right.
3-year term, let's stagger it. And then just delegate that to the group and to have them decide which they want to.
I think probably 2 years and 3 years, and then you'd have the staggering. We could,
We have
if
5
select board,
5 on the committee or 7?
Five.
Five, I think, yes,
Let me look.
or maybe 7. Might
Is
be
it
7.
7 with 5 people active right now or something like
Could be
that?
that.
Does that sound right?
I mean, we could, if we're all in agreement, we could, if David's interested in doing a 3, we could start him as a 3 and then have, like you said, have the committee.
Figure out the rest of it.
Yeah,
Oh, 3 starting March 1st.
yes,
Seven members.
okay. Yeah, because we're going through the list anyway for the town report to have everyone, so everyone's gonna be up in March anyway, so we could have that discussion
yeah.
with the board. Okay. I make a motion to have David fill the vacant seat that runs through March 2024, and then after that, if you're agreeable to a 3-year term, I mean, we can change it to a 2 if you're, it's a great committee, great group of people, and there are a lot of projects that they're working on which are exactly as you described. The town is heavily involved in that, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so a 3-year, okay,
Second.
okay.
So he's up until 2024, and then
As
We-
a 1-year term, just that's
I'd
like
like-
the last couple,
Fill
yeah.
I'd like to end that right there. Not that, I don't even know David, and
Okay.
I'm not saying that, but I'd like to have the committee present who wants the 3 and who wants the 2 and who wants the 1.
Okay,
And not us get involved in it.
Okay.
We're already setting one for a minute.
I see, so deciding on one now, you mean?
I think
just-
David's a good fit, don't get
Okay.
me wrong.
Okay, so
But
then
the
he would.
committee-
Just
he-
as a
he
group.
would be on
present
the
us-
committee,
you
he
present
would-
us the
he would
names
work-
of
He
2,
would work with the
3,
committee, okay,
Right,
all right, that's fine.
that's what
Yeah.
I'd like to do.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to that then. Just
You
have,
may have just got him just 2 years, Joel.
okay, so I'll amend my motion to, just have him, appoint him until March 2024, and then he would work with the rest of the committee members to make the appointments
I'm good with
as
that.
necessary. Okay, good.
Any other discussion? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Welcome aboard.
Great, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Okay, going on to item number 2. Review upcoming meeting schedule for budget, capital budget, town report, and town meeting preparations.
So hopefully folks had a chance to glance at my notes that outlined an upcoming schedule. It starts on page 2. If it's helpful, I can put it up on the screen. If I can find it. Let's see here. Oops, I'm not able to share it.
We've got a busy January.
Yes, indeed. There we go. So, starting with tonight, we've got some departments to review. We definitely have Public Works and Recreation, and we'll give a try with police tonight. Some of the other parts of the agenda are not the agenda, the budget are still coming together. And so whatever we don't get through tonight, we'll bump to the next meeting. Next Monday is going to be fire department and more general fund review. I think it'll be productive for us to get up to speed on where we are with various capital projects. Various water system projects, the Basin Street project, Lincoln Road project, and begin also just a broader capital planning. We still need to do the department capital plans and equipment plans. So hopefully we'll have something ready for that next week, and if not, then we'll aim for the following week. Also, next week is actually this week is the deadline for the accessible design for town parks project. So there's been a lot of interest among design teams to submit for proposals. I have no idea what range of costs we're going to be looking at. So that's going to be an agenda item for next Monday, because the thinking had been to use ARPA funds for that project. And so since we'll be talking about ARPA funds, we have about $300,000 right now, roughly. So we might want to think about, especially if we're looking at capital projects, just look at the big picture of those resources.
Is that 300,000 after the, community service specialist?
Yep. That was my thought too, I was just gonna ask that
Yeah,
question.
and I don't know what kind of interest that funding might have been accruing all this time. So
$75.
so that's not included, but.
Is that a fact or is that a guess?
I hope it's more than that, but
Wow,
I'm not holding my breath for the, given the,
So the town office will be closed next Monday, so I'll be zooming in.
Yeah.
Then the
You
following
mean you
Monday,
don't wanna come over here just for us?
Well, zooming
No
can mean two things. She could be zooming over the
racing over,
mountain.
yeah, with excitement.
Yes.
So the accessible parks, that was an RFP that we
Yep.
sent out.
Yep.
So, and we've had a lot of interest on that.
oh
That's
yeah,
great.
a lot, yeah.
So odd, the things we get the interest
I
in.
know, I know, you think like, simple things like a sidewalk or this or that, but no, yeah, that's great though.
And then the following Monday, the 22nd, we have the public hearing, the select board's public hearing on the bylaw amendments.
And those have been sent, our changes or suggested changes have been sent to the planning
Yep.
commission.
Yep. And published.
And I spoke to the chair of the planning commission. He'd sent an email and had a couple of questions about our deliberations, and so I spoke with him at length about sort of what we went through. And he seemed pretty pleased with that, so
Thanks for
he's
doing
gonna
that.
present
And he's
that.
aware they can make comments.
Yes, oh yeah,
Because when he sent that email, it was a little unclear whether he thought they could or couldn't.
oh yeah, he's all set. He wanted the full, he had the information, but he needed the detailed changes to be able to present to everyone.
So what happens if he or they come up with a change that we deem acceptable to what we've done? Does that reset the process, or?
It seems like it, right?
It
Depending
depends
on,
on if it's a substantial change.
Well,
If
anything
it's
other
just like
than,
a correction to, like, we had put the floor,
yes,
the floor, whatever it was we did from
The si- the
HDR
sizing,
or,
right.
yeah,
Right,
the size,
but-
the site size.
Right.
If they correct it for a certain reason, then I don't consider that a substantial
Okay.
change. I don't consider it a substantial change,
Right.
because we're putting something in there, it's just a matter of making sure we get the correct number in there.
But if we change something, we had a long discussion or some discussion about 900 square feet of
Yeah.
garage space. If we change that to 1,200, let's say, then that's a substantial change.
That's probably a substantial,
Yeah.
we'd have to have another
And we'd
meeting,
be
we'd have
looking
to have another meeting.
And we'd be looking at probably November for the.
Right.
actually August.
August, we
Oh.
could do it in August
in
for the,
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that when I looked at Sharon's election schedule,
Not the primary, but the.
primary.
Yeah.
primary. yeah.
oh, right, right.
okay, which is, I mean,
Yeah, it's
that's
not the end of the
fine,
world.
yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
We were
what the
pushing
comments are.
because we figured March, but August isn't that
Right.
far out
It's
if
not
we,
bad.
Right.
And it
if
would
we
have to be a special
don't get it right.
election. Nice.
And we wanna get it right.
And so, again, to finish out the month, January 29th is the last opportunity, really on Mondays anyway, to finalize the budget and the town meeting warnings.
It's also the day for candidates to put their petitions in.
All right,
For anything, right?
Hint, hint, hint,
Right.
anybody who hasn't
Yeah.
done it already?
Anybody.
School board or select board or whatever,
Mhm.
yeah.
that's not to say they can't put them in sooner.
They can put it in sooner, but that's the deadline, 5 o'clock
And
on
what's-
29.
And remind us of the percentage of signatures that are needed?
It's 30
30%?
signatures because it's a candidate.
Yeah.
It's
so
5% for the appropriations, but not for
Oh,
candidates.
the candidates are different, so just 30 signatures. Oh, okay.
Valid signatures.
So
Yeah.
5% is
Yeah, you
how
can't
many?
sign it 30 times.
Sharon,
Okay.
5% is how many? If it's-
163,
Oh,
164,
thank God we don't have to do
somewhere around.
that.
And that's for appropriation, and then
Mhm.
30 signatures if it's just a candidate.
Right.
Okay, that's good to know.
Bring it to me.
All right, so January 29th,
Yeah.
okay.
I usually get mine before Christmas, move here Christmas.
The,
and I get them all there,
the
but I
warning
didn't
has
do
to
it
be
this year.
posted no later than that following Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not a lot of time then.
No.
No, sooner or later, we're gonna have to nail numbers down.
Yeah, more like sooner. I
Sooner,
hope.
yeah.
Sooner,
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
so let's get started tonight then.
Okay,
So that's all I have on the upcoming schedule.
okay.
Okay,
And I know
So-
that Joel had expressed concern about making sure that the January 15th meeting is focused on budget, not a bunch of other odds and ends.
No payrolls, no nothing, just budget.
Budget. So I think of the capital.
Cause it's not a
stuff.
select board meeting, it's a budget meeting.
I don't know, I mean.
It's a
I'd like
select
to
board
know
budget
A
meeting.
little bit of flexibility if something comes up.
Nope, you can wait 2 weeks, Valerie. This is the problem, we wait up, it's 11 o'clock, we're going, and we're sitting here trying to decide $2 or $3 million of budget to put to the taxpayers, and we're tired. Let's just stick to a budget meeting on the odd select board scheduled nights. That's my preference.
if we can.
If we can.
Let's try very hard to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't have any
Yeah, I
warrants or payroll because
Yeah.
we do them every 2 weeks normally anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Right, right, if some emergent thing comes up,
Yeah.
we can look at it. All right,
Okay, so what are we doing first?
I recommend that Public Works go first.
Do you have any live
come
links
on
to?
down.
about
Yeah,
this?
Eric says no. Eric says no, he doesn't have a
Have you-
budget this year.
Have you sent those out to us?
To everybody, no.
Okay.
No.
You coming up?
Well, I'm waiting to make sure that.
Grab a
we're
chair.
good to go.
Come on down.
We're as good as we're gonna be.
We're just gonna say no anyway.
I don't really care.
You'll be out
That's
plowing
not-
roads again tomorrow morning, right, Eric? Well, you
No.
say no or yes?
I'm pretty sure you
Not
can.
tomorrow,
Not tomorrow.
probably Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold
Are
on.
you gonna guarantee that?
We're just gonna be rainy and.
Aren't you supposed to get to?
Tomorrow night.
47, 3 to 7, something like that. Wet, heavy snow.
Windy, wet.
When?
And when? Tomorrow
Tomorrow
night?
night.
That was supposed to be just rain.
No,
No, I was supposed to switch over after midnight supposedly.
start out with 3/4
So was the last
inches of
storm,
snow.
right? So the last storm was supposed to be wet, heavy, wet
No, the
stuff,
storm that
wasn't
we just had, they said it was supposed to be light and fluffy stuff,
Oh, okay, I
which
thought
it
that was
was,
supposed
it just, their timing came in a little off.
Right.
it? Yes.
All right, what do we got?
Well, so let's see here. This is weird. Trying to navigate my screen.
Have we nailed down the insurances? And the-
For
and
them, for Public Works, yes. For Recreation, no.
Insurances and, what was the other one that increases?
Health
Workers'
insurance
comp,
and
workers'
health
comp
health
and,
insurance.
Micah?
So the good news is the amount we can expect from the state will be increasing. And I can just give you a little peek as to where that comes from. These are the formulas that go into that number, and it's based upon dollars per mile of our different classes of roads. And so the allocations from the state has gone up. So that's where that number comes from, which is somewhat good news. Go back over here. As I mentioned earlier, we had some hiccups with the audit from the FY22 audit, and they aggregated some numbers. I asked them to unaggregate them, and they did mostly, but not everything. So these are the unaggregated numbers down here for FY22, but they still aggregated some of the other ones. So I just have to guess which ones are affected.
Oh, I don't know how to turn it down.
So even though we're getting more money from the
Take it out,
state,
throw it out.
for FY '25, it's still a decrease in revenues. According to this, let's see. Although apparently last year, $20,000 was budgeted for grants. I know we're gonna be getting more grant money. So,
You budgeted 20,000 this coming year.
for this current year, $20,000 was budgeted.
What did we, for 2023?
That's 23, 24 budget,
Right.
20,000.
Yeah,
So you haven't put anything for this coming year.
yeah.
Is that the,
The Barlow fault.
no,
The annual-
notch? The notch?
It's possible. I know it came, I mean, that's the grant amount for that. I mean, the actual cost came in higher than
Right.
that, but that's the grant amount.
So we could put that in again.
Well, what do we?
Well,
so what-
no,
so-
because that money should be spent, that 20,000 should be spent
For
Right,
the July 1.
before July 1st.
Yeah, gotta be done.
right, so
Right.
that'll go into the 2023-24 actual.
Yeah.
So that's gonna come,
Right,
be there.
No, I think Val's saying we could put another 20,000 in, so we
Yeah.
would get a grant.
yeah.
I'm not sure I wanna depend on that.
No,
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
what do
We
you
don't
got?
usually do that. We don't usually budget grants in the operating operating
Right.
budget, so, and I wasn't.
maybe because it was a carryover last year, because it was supposed to be done the previous year and it wasn't.
Right, that could be.
Well, I mean, but the fact that we have a grant writer on staff, that allows us to potentially put it into a budget, right? If we know certain grants are available, I mean, obviously
There's no guarantee.
Well,
no, exactly,
That's
but
the
it's sort of,
problem.
yes,
grants are tied to projects. If we don't have a
that's true, you're right.
project,
Yes,
if we don't have a project that has grant money
yes,
already associated with it, I don't see how we can put it in there.
okay,
And we usually, we have separate funds in the system to keep track of
Yes,
special
that's right.
projects, where the revenues and the expenses are tied to a specific project fund. So it usually doesn't show up in the operating budget
Okay.
like this, so.
So where is it's on the thing to talk about, or in the budget for Basin Street. Some of that coming out of Eric's budget?
No, nothing.
Okay, so the
That would be
grant's not
capital.
gonna go put in his budget, because we
Yeah.
did get grant money for that,
Right,
yeah,
a
it's
lot of
it's a
it.
separate project.
separate
Yeah,
project.
and again, that's the kind of thing you wouldn't see in the operating budget.
Okay, that's right.
It's a good example.
So, and then we have this new line item, the Act 76 childcare,
Right, and that's right here.
and that your suggestion is that the town pay for that.
That's my recommendation.
And that's for every employee, not just
Correct.
Public Works.
Yeah, and
What's that
the
gonna-
law caps the employee contribution to 0.11%. And so 0.33% would be coming out of the general fund anyway. And according to my rough math, and I used this example in someone over the weekend, that somebody making $45,000 a year at 0.11%, and this is less than 1%, so it's 0.11%, would amount to about $50 a year. And even though that's not a lot, obviously the more somebody makes, the higher that figure would be. My feeling is that it's not, I don't know why it would be on the employee's burden to.
I think that's an
have
issue
to
they
foot
gotta
that
take
bill.
up with the legislature, not with us.
Right, and that,
They
it
called it
could
a
be
payroll.
likened to school taxes, and the fact that people without kids pay school taxes, because it's been deemed to be in the society's best interest to educate kids. So, one could argue the same is true for affordable childcare. That it's in the society's best interest to
So
provide that support.
right.
That $1,300 is the cost based on the estimated salaries.
Correct. And
On the
that's-
5
that-
employees
that's-
at the town
right, 'cause
garage.
that's, you can see the formula right there. Those are that's the salary number, and then that's multiplied by 0.44%.
0.44 or 0.0044?
Well, that's,
It's 0.0044.
Right.
But she's saying 0.44%, then it turns into
yeah, it's confusing.
0.044.
I gotcha.
Yeah, if that was 0.44, then it would be 44%, which we don't want.
So we're taking it out of this, is that correct?
Well, that's my recommendation.
Okay.
And I did the same for other departments,
All right.
so there's that.
I go,
can't-
I'll say right, that, it's coming out of my check, I'm paying part of it at work.
Me too.
Everybody's got payroll tax, everybody's gotta have a skin in the game. if we're gonna figure out this childcare thing, and I agree it's a problem, but this legislature put it that every employee and employer would contribute to this.
Well, we can change that.
And we're saying the town of Bristol, we're gonna put it all on the taxpayers and the employees don't have to pay a dime.
Well, they did say also that it was up to the employer. They could distribute it up to the whatever the one,
Yeah.
whatever it is, but it was up to the employer.
Yeah, and
do it.
on the listservs going around last week, I think I included some of that in the document that I posted online. Several towns are going that route of just putting it in their budget. At least one of them was doing the 0.11% on the employer.
So where is the additional money coming from?
What
Out of the
additional-
general fund.
Right, but
That's-
it's not showing up in the budget.
Well, no, this is just the Department of Public Works, so
That's the
she's got the
Public Works
balance
budget.
of that in, I think she said in the general fund budget, right?
Well, this is the general fund budget.
No, but I mean, like, not under Department of Public Works, we're saying the rest of it. You said the
Everybody.
town still has to pay their share, so where do you have that share in the budgets?
Well, right
Listed.
now, we're just looking at public works. but
Yes, I
in-
know that.
In the other sections, you'll see it in the other sections.
No, but where is where
15.
is our portion, if that is the employee's portion right there, I'm assuming that $1,314.
Well, this shows it as all coming out of the town.
That's all,
That's the 0.44.
okay.
Each department is gonna pay the 0.44.
So if we go.
That's the total amount we have to pay on those employees.
I think
Or,
And I get it.
let's do a little, let's do a scenario. So there's 1314,
For the public works.
yeah, right there. So if I change that to 0.33, which is what the town would pay anyway. That's the.
That's
The
400.
0.33 would be what the town has to pay?
Correct.
That's their portion
That's the
of,
obligation, yeah.
So it's $400.
So that's the town's portion
Right.
plus.
$400 out of the public works.
And
Yeah.
the rest would come out of employees.
About $100, well, not quite $100 an employee, 75 maybe.
Per year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joel, you said that you're against,
We got an email beginning of September from HR that said, you'll see some changes in your new payroll, and
okay,
it'll be 52 or 3 pay periods, but also, or 27 pay period, but also the new childcare
okay,
tax will be, you'll have a deduction in your check.
okay, and same for you, Michelle?
it's in my paycheck. I mean, it's not a ton of money, but, I mean, year after year, it is, we're asking the taxpayers to pay it for the employees here. When a lot of
The
them are
same-
probably gonna have to pay it too. I mean, so you're like asking them to double pay.
The
'Cause some
same
employees pay
reason,
Property tax.
the same reason we started taking 15% for healthcare.
Healthcare.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how I look at it. I mean, it's not a ton of money, but if you add it up over years, it's a lot of
Yeah.
money. You're asking the taxpayers to pay. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is, but
No, I don't either, but.
I mean, I do
I mean,
agree, it's similar to like what you said about, educating our populace. We all benefit from that. But it is, like you said, we're not asking people to pay for a school tax and then having to pay a school tax somewhere else as well.
Whereas if the town pays for all of it,
That's
they would be doing that.
right.
Now, employees are going to be getting another hit with the increased health insurance premiums, and also increased other stuff coming out of their take home.
yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
So what would you support? Would you support having it be split, or the town do all?
I would say it's either all or nothing. I don't think, it's not enough money to
Can't say make it
Just split
point,
hairs.
instead of
Oh, I see.
0.11, make it
Yeah.
0.005.
Right.
Eric, you want to comment?
Yeah,
I
what do you
really
think?
don't care one way or the other. For that amount, over 5 people, over a year,
It's not a lot.
it's not gonna be much.
It's about $1 a week.
Yeah, roughly. So,
You know, if it's $50
I'd
a year.
rather go along with this and not have to pay the extra on the health insurance.
Wait, do we have a choice on that?
I'm
thinking so.
Yeah, it doesn't quite
Okay.
work that way.
So I don't know.
What'd you guys do in Starkville? Did you gonna pay all 44.44?
That was supposed to be tomorrow's discussion.
Oh,
We haven't talked about it. They're leaning towards what you guys are leaning towards here.
Which is what?
This, this,
Not paying the full amount.
this is, yeah, they're
Paying
kind of
only
leaning
what
towards
we
this
have to
way as
pay.
well.
Okay.
Just having the town pay.
the entire thing, or
No, this way.
only
Okay.
3.3 and?
Yeah.
And they pay point.
So what's the select board consensus on that? Pay all or pay?
I guess I have to agree with Michelle and Joel. It's gonna come out of all our paychecks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the childcare benefits all of us in the long run. It's affording childcare for so many more families than what could ever afford it before. It's keeping doors open on our childcares. I support the tax, but I don't feel like we can ask the public to pay for it and then pay for it again.
How do you feel?
Similar.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a much needed thing, because if you
No,
don't
no,
have
I don't think
the
any-
childcare, then it affects
I don't think,
any position that we have here.
I don't think anybody here is disputing that.
Yeah.
No,
No,
not at
no.
all.
I just hope it's a worthwhile thing.
Me
Right.
too.
Let's-
Yeah, me too.
I hope it does what they think it's gonna do.
Yeah, so that's.
I can tell you the early reports are yes,
Are positive?
very
Good.
positive.
Good.
Okay, all right, what are the other,
Those are all, the next lines are
That's all.
nothing
There's
we can
nothing
do
we can do.
anything about it.
Mhm.
Insurance.
so what are the changes there? So,
So you can see from the percentages, you
Yeah.
get a snapshot.
It's about $100 a month for single, about the same for two, or an adult and a child, and about 200, I think, at least for family.
Increase, is that what you're saying?
Increase monthly premium.
Yeah, mine jumped.
so wait, why are our changes,
Negative.
yeah. Is that correct then? Shouldn't those be, positive?
Well, maybe we
What, from
have
83 to
have
Somebody who
people
didn't take.
Single
want
plans?
family plans.
I was
Family
gonna
plan?
say,
Single
plus
one.
you got a couple of my guys are not on it
Okay,
Yeah,
as of yet.
right, okay.
so those numbers are accurate to the best of your knowledge.
As far as I know.
Okay.
I've double checked the formulas.
No, I mean, as far as the people taking and not taking
Right.
insurance through Eric's department.
Right.
Is there a protocol in terms of
Yeah.
asking employees, as we're budgeting, because we're budgeting for obviously the next year, whether that might change? Because this is based on what we know now, or what they currently have, things.
And they can change their mind July 1.
Yeah, which then we wouldn't have budgeted for
We
that.
wouldn't be prepared.
Do we know if any of your guys are looking to change?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay,
One of your guys is getting married, right?
Not for a while.
Not for a while.
He's
Okay.
engaged,
He's
but that
engaged.
could run on for
Okay,
a while.
I knew he was engaged, so I didn't know if they had set a date.
Well,
No, not yet.
Okay.
obviously, we have the age of them. I know a couple you're talking to, so they must, if they're 25
yeah,
and they've got to go off their
Yeah,
parents'
one more
till
year, yeah.
26,
yeah.
and let's say August,
Yeah,
and they walk in and say, I want insurance starting July 1,
Well, they're both,
20. and
But you're also
21.
paying them the 4,000 a year, so.
Right, you'll have some of them.
Oh, right. So
Right.
for the yeah, okay.
So they're not gonna give that up until they have to.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
So
all right,
now-
done, Eric, great.
No, we got garage and heating, and that's about the same, Eric.
what's that? Where are you?
Down the garage and,
Hold on, let's look at equipment first.
okay, I'm
What's
sorry.
your parts?
Yep. That's basically because of pricing on parts is just
Oh,
outrageous right now.
And, the worst of it is that the majority of that is all emissions stuff.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Yeah, emissions stuff, and being able to get the parts is extremely difficult right
Well,
now.
we just changed a emission part on the Mac 2 days, no, what was it? Friday. Just for a piece of pipe this big with a flex joint in the middle. It was a little over $800. And just for one
Can we make
pipe.
our own?
That didn't
Can we
include the
have a
clamp.
machine shop?
So it's not because we're
And that-
going through more well, we are a little bit, but it's just because of the price of the parts is just outrageous.
And that's not even the expensive.
That's not even the expensive part.
Yeah.
I mean, if one of the filters goes in that
It's 10
system,
grand.
it's, yeah.
Let me jump down then, Eric, the next to last,
Or,
the next to last line. Contractors repairs, you haven't moved that.
Michelle's just gonna get up and
If
leave.
you look at-
Hold on.
I'm thinking.
It's like, I don't like doing my budget.
Contracted repairs is still at 12,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take something that for contractor repairs, their parts are going up, should that,
I think what happens
I'm
with
asking
who
you
we're,
two more than me.
with who we're using,
right,
we buy the parts.
Oh, okay.
And we only pay
Okay,
to have them
pay it,
installed.
right.
All right,
So just pay for labor.
okay.
So the year, which year was it? Where you went to 19, you spent 19,000 on contract repairs. Was
That
that the
was-
one with the truck, when you had the
yes.
problem with the truck?
Right, absolutely.
I
And
just
we've
wanted to make
been,
sure there was
we've
enough
been,
in
you
there.
know, relatively good on that, so that, I kinda use it as a buffer for the
Mhm.
part line.
Mhm.
Like I do with the heating and the propane on the garage. Because we've been theoretically running over on parts. We haven't been spending as much on the contractor repair, so that kinda evens it out somewhat.
Eric, I'll have to ask you on the last one, equipment rentals number 45, you, 21, 22, 1,500 actual,
Yeah.
$322. Oh, well, we just moved it over,
We
322
didn't,
last year, this year, 0 so far, you still got 6 months to go.
so that's not right,
Which
That's not
one?
right.
because he
322.
rented oh, we hired that done this year,
What's that?
the mowing.
Ditch bank and
Oh,
yeah.
mowing, yes,
Yeah, we had,
I guess that wouldn't go under
no,
there.
actually, this summer, we rented,
Then
They
you-
rented the.
Pete's.
mow.
Then you've got
I put
something
that under contracted services,
that's
that's,
not there.
49,
that's
4697.
probably what I put it under instead of the rents.
Contractor service,
That's
4697.
contracted
Equipment
repairs.
rentals.
I probably put it under 09, which is contracted services instead.
That's what I'm saying. If he said he
Right.
put it under contractor services, 4,900 sound right for that?
Or six,
Well, that's contracted repairs,
4,600, sorry.
contract, where's contracted services show up?
It's on the general parts, down farther.
Okay,
I probably put it in there by mistake.
So
I'll
you're-
rearrange it.
You got your level funding for your tires and your
Okay.
fuels
Yeah,
and your oil and everything, that doesn't change in price? I mean,
it does, but
it's gonna be close.
we've been holding pretty much steady,
Okay,
so I didn't. see
tires
any-
have gone up about $150 a piece.
Yeah, and
And
I've
you're-
checked our supply
you're over by
right
eight.
now, we're good, we bought the new loader, so we got brand new tires there. I've already bought the tires for the grader. We are pretty much set for winter tires for the trucks. I do gotta get some capped, and I gotta buy 2 more new front ones for one of the tandems.
Okay.
So we should be good.
all right.
You were over a little bit by $800. This, last year you were 22, 23, you spent 3,800 to $14 versus 3,000.
Where you're in.
Oil and antifreeze.
Sure, I'm sorry, oil and, sorry,
Yeah.
Peter.
I bought an extra barrel and that put me over.
Okay,
All righty. Garage?
So the big jump there is rubbish removal.
Yeah, I upped that a little bit because we've been picking up more trash alongside the roads and stuff, and some of it can go in R&L's containers, but there's some of it that we have to bring down to
transfer.
the transfer station. So I
And the
upped
R&L is
that.
supposed to go up on their prices too, but we haven't got the January bill yet to see what it's going up to.
Okay,
Wait, can you go back up to garage? Sorry.
Road gravel and things are about the same.
Keep going. There we go. So everything else is level funded, supplies, heating, fuel. Those are locked in with our, well, I was gonna say the pre-buys, but,
No, we don't
It's not
pre-buy,
all
we
pre-buy.
pre-buy the propane.
oh, okay.
The fuel oil is
Somewhat
10 cents over rack?
10 cents, I think.
20 cents over rack.
I don't know.
So that fluctuates whatever the market is.
Okay.
Talking about the heating fuel or the?
Both the heating,
Oh,
both the
yeah.
heating and, although we
operating.
burn some waste oil in the green garage.
Okay, let's see, electricity, actual
so
22, 23 was 3,000 and we're at 3,800. Okay.
We spent just about 1473 so far.
Yeah, so, and then
Now,
you're,
do we get,
That's the end of the 6 months.
are we making anything or saving anything with the solar we're using?
yeah, a little bit.
We are, a little
Yeah.
bit, well, a little bit.
Right.
It's
Better than
minimal.
nothing, right?
Dollar and a half.
Yeah,
$75.
it's not a lot. But we have opportunities, obviously, if and when we discuss new buildings or renovating buildings, then opportunities, I think, there for new construction or renovating would help with that kind of thing. And obviously that would, if you put in solar, that would be able to knock that down considerably over time. So your maintenance, got 4,000 in there, 17, 8, 96, 22, 23, and then we're already at 3,000, okay, yeah.
And I'm still waiting on a repair for the salt shed door, the roll-up door. I gotta replace about a foot of it.
Who ran into it?
Nobody just brought it off.
The bottom, that was the bottom half,
Yeah, bottom half.
right? The bottom
Yeah, it's a
half.
steel door.
It's sad when we, that's the first thing we jump to.
Right.
Who hit it?
Who did it this time?
Oh, it wouldn't be the first.
First.
Okay.
No.
Or the last.
All right, so 0.9 for that, all right, materials and services,
10%, where's the big jump there?
tree work, yeah.
Is that the big jump?
What's our, stone for ditching, good lord.
Is that new
That's
one?
Yeah,
required.
it's that stone I have to buy to line the stone, the ditches is just outrageous.
Wow,
Well,
really?
you can get it somewhere else.
I can't, cause you're the cheapest one.
You'll need 20,000.
Say that a little bit quieter,
Now
please.
the truth
Um,
says
Yeah, that's, okay.
So, and the reason that's gone up, I put it up, is even though we are getting a grant money, that's gonna take quite a bit of stone, and that's a foot stone that we gotta put in. Plus, if we wanna keep up with the state requirement for doing, I can't remember what percentage of,
It's not that great, it's,
you gotta do, supposed to do seven segments a year on your road inventory.
Okay,
And if we wanna keep up with that, then, you have to stone anything that's above an 8% grade.
and why is the state, why did they do that? What
Good
was-
question.
so they don't wash.
It doesn't wash, and
But
supposedly.
is it actually working? I mean,
Well, you can see where they don't, if you paid attention to what's going on in 17, that is
That last section.
less than the grade, and they haven't been able to hold the ditch. So with the water, we've been getting, with
Yeah.
the storms we get, the stone line ditches are staying.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, you've done a pretty good job up on Upper Meehan.
Well, that on David's Hill,
Right.
we hammered. I hired Lathrops and hammered that ditch where the ledge came down to the edge of the road and it pushed the water out. I had him hammer a ditch in the ledge. In the last heavy rains that we've gotten, that road hasn't moved, it stayed right in the
Right.
ditch.
Well, that's good.
and we can assume that the rains will continue for the foreseeable future.
We'll find out.
Eric, has culverts gone up, or we just
Yes.
price them up?
Yes, oh yeah. They've
Not
gone
putting any
up.
more in, I see 11%.
No, that's just the cost of them,
Okay.
So with,
everything.
and the tree work, that includes 5 new 2-inch caliper trees?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the trees that, it was a good thing that when they put the smaller trees in, but I'd rather have a 2-inch caliper tree and you actually get some use out of it within a few years rather than 20 years down the road.
yeah.
And I checked online for pricing on them, and the average for 1.5 to 2-inch caliper tree ranges anywhere from $800 to $1,000 a piece. So
Versus the one, you mean we got the grant for, they're putting in what, smaller ones than
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twigs.
1 inch?
yeah, not even that.
I wouldn't say they're twigs.
They're twigs.
They're bigger than twigs.
Well, we wanna use,
I put a twig in my garden, but.
we wanna use twigs, we could just get some weeping willow sprouts, so that would really pick the sidewalks
They were more
up.
than twigs, come on.
So I left the takedown the same and just added,
Okay.
So
for
your,
the 5 new trees.
your tree work line includes not only planting the new trees, but also taking down
Takedowns,
trees?
yeah.
That includes, that line
Yeah,
includes both?
yeah.
Okay.
And that's for storms as well, when they're to do any work after storms? Or is that
Yeah,
different?
whenever we have a potential tree that's dangerous,
I mean, you're gonna,
Not storm blowdown, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
No.
Yeah, that's under, is that under storm damage or, no?
No.
we don't-
no,
It's
that's just,
General labor.
General
right.
labor, okay.
gonna say, cause a storm tree that's already down, we go take care of it, you know, or cut it up and take it with the excavator
Imagine-
ourselves.
I can think of 2 trees here in the village that you wanna take down that are gonna take $3,000 of that right off the bat, 2 trees probably.
Well, there's still
One
money
tree.
left in this year's budget to do some of that work.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't spent anything this year out of the takedowns. There,
Yeah.
Brett's
And we have
been,
another, what's our other tree line? Do we have another tree line as part of the main?
There is for the parks, for the $5,000.
Oh,
for
yeah.
But
parks.
we were gonna take that one down on Church Street, right? And the one you've been trying to get down on Meadow Lane.
Church Street is,
You gonna get those down before July or? so we can
Brett's been busy, he's been out to the lake working, and, I talked to him, what was it, last week? And he said he was trying to finish that job up, and then I talked to his guys today, cause they stopped and got some sand, and they're getting ready to pull out of the lake because of the weather that's coming, so hopefully soon.
Now, last week, we did submit a grant application to the Vermont Forest and Parks for $50,000 for tree removal, tree trimming, and tree
Okay.
planting.
Okay.
And there's no match required, and I'm not exactly sure when we'll find out if we got the grant, but if we do get the grant, it'll help offset that figure.
Nice.
What was the amount of the grant you put in? Oh,
50,000.
sorry, you did say 50.
Have
No,
we used any of the Johnson funds?
just the interest we use.
Right, but have we used that yet for any projects for trees?
Yeah,
I thought we
used-
did,
I thought we
no, I
used
thought we
that.
took some principal to, when John,
It's not principal.
No, we
or
took.
took the interest to buy the
interest for the
trees
trees, yeah.
for this fall,
replanting
early
of the
fall.
Right,
we
it turns
did,
out we
John
didn't
did.
need to use that
Oh,
fund
okay.
because it came in under budget.
Oh,
Okay,
even better. Yeah.
Okay.
Hate it when that happens.
so will that be something we'll get after July 1?
Yes, it would be after July 1.
But before July 1 of 24, should it go back up to that question you had about putting grant money in his revenue?
It's not there.
I know it's not there, Peter, should we put some
But we
there?
might not
No.
get it.
No.
We
Yeah,
can't
I hear
guarantee
you.
we'll get it.
I'd rather,
And that's
I'll
all
put it in and
separate,
get
and
it.
that's all separate. It's all,
Right.
you know, we can do
well, that would be
the,
tree work.
well, tree work, we can go and we can take the canopy back on all our roads that he did the village last year, but I mean, we have back roads that need some trimming as well.
There's a duck when you get
Yeah.
down through there.
Well, part of that grant that Valerie was talking about, I got estimates for Lincoln Road, canopy, lower notch canopy, that tree that you keep talking about on, was it Meadow Lane, you said that
We've been
one?
trying to get Job Corps for years, they won't do it anymore because of.
Too big.
Too big.
Yeah, so I did go out and get some prices for Valerie for the grant.
Okay.
And I broadened the scope a little bit in the grant application to include cemeteries. And I was thinking specifically of the Hard Scrabble Road Cemetery with the trees and the damage to the stones and the fencing. So if we can get some assistance on tending
I
to
thought we
those
already took
public
down those
trees.
trees.
also.
We did.
Took some of them down, but they didn't
No,
recommend
we
it.
took them all.
No, we
They
took.
took
them
everything
all.
that they recommended we take,
Right.
Well, we wanted to take the front down.
but they said no.
No,
Yeah, John said no.
that's
Do
what
we,
we,
do we still have your fencing that we were thinking about
Stacked
in that
over there.
location? Okay,
Yeah, down in the, by the culverts.
okay, great. All right,
Moving on. So that
that
section increases
contracted-
by 11%.
Is that contracted services in there for what you thought you put for the mower?
The contract services I up because of the bigger projects that we're starting to get into now, it's more than what we've been spending. And some of the work we can't do with our machine, it takes a bigger machine to do it, to reach and everything, so.
Yeah, but does that line item include the rental you bought? You use this.
Oh, you're talking about spent money,
Yeah.
probably, I'd have to
Okay.
get with Sharon to go back and look through the things.
okay, number 74, that's to doing what we want to do 1 month before we pave. We want to put that drainage in from the police station exit down, or, right?
Yeah, and that, I'm gonna see if Valerie and I can try to scope it into the work of the water project. Not be water project, but be along with us, so maybe we'd get a better rate.
so Sharon asked, what was the one that you thought you
Was it
coded?
Bagley?
Yes.
So that
No,
means,
no, last summer was,
22.
was it Pete's
Yes, out of.
out of Morrisville?
Morrisville, yeah.
So it would be, Pete's,
Pizza quick,
yes,
out of Morrisville.
out of Morrisville.
Okay. Yeah, we can,
3,000
we
or
can
3,500,
code that
something like
correctly.
that.
DPW mower rental was 4514.
There you go.
so Eric, this line 74, according to Steve, storm drainage
Oh, okay,
for Monsalado, that's going on Monsalado.
Yeah, we can put it in contractors there.
I mean, they're not coming back to do another streets or
Yeah,
street
2
or
years.
streets. He says it's gonna be 3 years.
3 years, okay.
So that'll be 2027 or 26.
We can do
Does
it.
that
The
need to
only-
be in there? I'm just gonna ask that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I put the money in there for, is for us to do it in-house. The only thing is our machine will not lift them cement things. So we would have to get a crane or a bigger machine or whatever to set them.
Even the loader won't pick them?
Can't get close enough to the
Oh,
hole.
you can't get close enough, that's right, Peter.
I don't wanna, knows I have a new loader.
So that's the Munsell drainage, that's the one Munsell and, Pleasant?
That's
in front of the chair's house.
By
Yeah,
what we call it.
Is that gonna tie
in?
into West
She's really
Street?
pushed that through.
Yeah. Is that gonna tie into West Street or not?
Yes,
Good to be the queen.
yeah, my thought.
I just, if
Pete's
you're gonna
thought
wait until we go to do it with the water project, you're not gonna do it
There's
in
nothing
24,
on
that's what
there.
I'm saying.
Right,
That's all.
Because it's good
and the
to
only
us.
thing is,
7,000 if you do it in-house, I like that idea.
yeah, we just can't set the structures. I gotta have either Randy come with a crane or a bigger excavator to set them.
Does Speaker have one?
Which can't get close enough. Well, you can,
With the excavator.
we can run an excavator for it.
I mean, it would work, it would be, if we were gonna have an excavator set them, it would probably have them, be better off to have them dig the hole and then use our machine to dig the trench
Mhm.
for
Well,
the
so-
culverts to connect
So
them.
what's your question, Joel, about
Well,
this?
I just saw it said for Munsell Avenue work. And he said, well, I'm gonna try to coordinate it with the water
Right,
when well,
What you
that's
mean?
3 years away, so
Right.
we maybe don't need that if we're not.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I was saying.
Because we don't want to dig it up, bury all that stuff,
And
dig it up again
Right.
in 2 years to lay the water line.
Well, it'd
Though
be
it's gonna be
different.
different,
Different.
right?
Different.
So,
It's
yeah,
different.
It's gonna be
And we
trenched.
talked about a sidewalk.
Yeah, we talked about
Oh, that's true, okay.
So here's a question.
I'd like to get the drainage in before the
Yeah.
water work,
Yes.
is done.
I
Because
see.
that might not be one of Steve's
I think
in
we
3
leave-
years.
We
No,
leave
it
it
won't
there.
We'll have a better
Leave it
idea.
there.
We might have
do
some
it ourselves.
information about that next week, with the update on the water system
Okay.
projects. But, related to storm drainage, Steve Palmer and his colleagues, prepared a plan for Pine Street. That includes drainage and possibly widening the road width, to allow for, a 4-foot lane, striped lane. And, there are no grant funds for that because it's not a connected waterway. It doesn't connect, we don't have any data in terms of stormwater runoff and phosphorus and sediment and anything like
Yeah.
that because it's not connected to a waterway. So it wouldn't qualify for grants that I'm aware of. So we talked about finding a way to do it in-house, so maybe, I don't know,
I see.
I don't know what the cost estimates would be to,
To what, the drainage?
yeah, for Pine
Pine.
Street.
For the preliminary that Peter and I walked and talked to Tim about were what did I tell you?
32.
32 just for the materials. For the
32K?
stone, yeah,
32K.
for the stone, the
Yes.
structure.
3,200.
all you- And all that, it's about 32 just for the material, not including any labor or anything like that.
Now, for that kind of project, we do have the capital roads fund that could be tapped, but of course, we have other needs for that funding as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing, I don't even dare guess a number.
I would double it.
No, it's
750.
more than
More
double
than that.
Just
probably.
for the labor.
Yeah,
Well, what's the priority for that project, say, over the Munsell Ave? We know Munsell
we
Ave
wanna
literally
pave
is.
Pine Street,
No, I know that,
but
but,
that's the priority.
You can't do this work and then, you
No,
can't pave it and then do this work.
I'd rather
what
not.
happens if we don't do the drainage work?
Then Tim is gonna stay mad about the water running down across his property and we haven't solved the problem.
Okay.
He is amenable. I did speak with Steve this week. because I had a question about permitting and needing a stormwater discharge permit. And he said that Alan Heisinger has a letter that says we do not need a stormwater permit,
okay,
and that we
perfect.
can use the design that we've come up with,
Yeah.
and we're good to go.
Okay.
So you can, I mean, I guess you can get, it's not for this budget, but you can get prices for, at least get a number, a budget number for the site work.
Okay.
So you said there isn't grant money available, is that just for any kind of grant money, or just particular
For
types?
For Pine Street.
For Pine Street.
Right, but I mean, there's no other kind of grant money available?
It doesn't qualify. It's not
Okay.
competitive.
I see.
For those reasons that it's not, we don't have any data to demonstrate that this would improve anything.
I see. Okay.
Not pollution,
Other
not
than,
sediment.
other than making Jackman's float away.
Well, it's not only that, it's all this
Yeah.
down through there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You've got puddle after puddle.
Well, I'd leave that in there.
Don't even-
Well, I don't think he's going all the way down through there. I think we're basically.
Steve
gonna-
told me he wants to drain from where you go into Mountain Health. You can kind of see the little bit of crest right there. Everything from east of Mountain Health Drive and North Street will go down Jackman Drive.
That's not,
Or from
we're
Maple
not,
Street
we're
at
not
least.
to that extent, are we?
We're not, no,
He wanted to go
we're
from
not-
Maple Street, get it, so that water will carry down and get into some kind of a, what do you call it? Thing
There's,
ground.
well, there'd be one of them structures right there at Jackman Drive.
Yeah.
So that water coming from the
But that's
doctor's office could just theoretically just drain, on its own.
surface
Right,
drain.
that's what he was
Surface
saying.
drain.
All right, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right, so let's leave that in. Anything else in the, this area? We talked about contracted services. What else we got? Oh, we're at the end. What's our total? No, wait.
I don't have the depth number yet.
Can you go back up just a little bit, Valerie? I want to see what permits. Eric, do we really, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but we haven't spent $3,000 in the last 3 years on permits. Can we cut $1,000 out of that 500?
Part of that is the state permit. We get billed.
Oh, for so much ditch,
$3,000 now,
so much
isn't it?
ditch you get? Okay, same deal we get up
Yeah.
at Commerce Park Association. Okay, the answer's then.
Okay.
So what's our total increase for that? 1.8, is that right?
Well, it doesn't include,
Doesn't
yeah.
include the
Doesn't
bond
include the
payment.
bond
Yeah, I
payments.
don't have the
Yeah.
bond payment figure yet, but in terms of the operating budget, yeah, 1.8.
Okay.
The bond payment,
Well, what's the bond payment for the,
Stormwater,
that's for West Street?
yeah.
It's still
Well,
paying on that?
actually,
No, because the other
2010
one's under there,
refinance.
is West Street.
2012.
stormwater bond. I don't know. I don't remember.
It's $35,000. I'd be like to know what that goes into. Just like,
Okay, so we had 34,920 and then
We
it
paid
went
the
up to
bridge off, South Street
41,24,
Bridge.
Yeah.
so why did it go to 41,24 that one year and then back down to 34,920?
as a bond, Steve, you revising it, you revised it by, the interest rate might have dropped as you keep paying off your principal, your bond payment starts dropping, like the fire truck, the
Yeah,
fire
but why was
station.
it down,
Why did it go
up,
up?
and then back down again?
yeah,
I don't know.
unless
They
it was
budgeted-
coded, it was coded wrong.
Yeah, it could be coded wrong.
You look at the one below it, and there's $4,000 off there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Or,
those are both
yeah,
off.
$6,000 off there, and there's, bigger, you're right.
Something's hinky.
Well, there's all kinds of little funky things with the FY '23.
So that bond, which bond is paid off, or is either of them paid off? Oh, that's 100%, is it? Never mind.
If she puts in the 18,894, then you'll see it,
Yeah,
say 0. I would put the 18,894 in there just for a number because that's,
it's not
What
gonna
we've
be, it
had.
shouldn't be any
And-
more.
Right.
or not too much more.
Will we pay that one too?
USDA,
That's gotta be, that's West Street.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the one above it?
That's North Street.
Oh, the
The
big,
big
The
project.
big
the
dig.
big dig from Mountain Street down.
So is that, was
Okay.
that a 30-year?
That was during Obama,
I can look
Obama's,
it up,
yeah,
but
that
I'd
was
have to
2010.
Change, switch screen.
So it won't be paid off until 2040?
Ugh,
So we're at what?
Don't worry, you'll be still on the
hang
board.
on just a minute.
We can work on these numbers together.
I don't think so.
I'm looking up the bond capital budget.
Okay. So 2.8, potentially. Not bad.
I'm calling up my capital plan.
I can go up a little more now.
No,
No.
No,
that's not an invitation.
we want you to work on retaining your staff
Oh.
this year. That's your
Yes.
project
Yeah.
for this year.
Doing what?
Retaining your staff.
Oh,
Yeah, no
boy.
kidding.
You've had enough jobs
Yeah,
to post and
Steve,
seek and
count
hire
number.
for.
yeah.
What's that, Sharon?
What's the account number?
I don't have it. It's not on
got
the-
it.
Oh,
Val's got
it.
Bill's got the account number.
Account number, Bill?
She did it. Oh, she's looking at the budget now.
Can you hand me that email?
Well, I don't know, I just, there's a number change on this one.
Oh, okay.
You picking boogers there, Ian,
Where?
on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, here. There we go. Just put you right there.
It's our favorite Santa
You're
stories.
planning your escape, huh? You're like, I've had enough of these numbers.
These are riveting.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you for joining the Energy Committee.
Thank you.
So Sharon, did you want the account number?
Yeah, it's 00110.
6-30-00. So it's
30. And then the last four zeros.
let's see, 001-10-6-30-00,
0.03, or are you talking about the one above it, 01?
the one above.
Alright. Oh, we pay MT. It was 34,919.53. We paid it in November. For the stormwater bond.
That is for North Street, or Mountain Street down through the Hook River.
Perfect, that's not the USDA one, right?
No, that one's for West Street. That was in
Oh, I thought we were looking for the
2016,
number
right?
for
Rita?
the
We did West
USDA
Street?
one,
Yeah.
because it's 0 right now.
19 is West Street. And that's what the other one is 19.
It's only 20-year, so we'll have it paid off in 2030.
What's the 40-year there? Water system improvement was 40-year.
That was the tower, the water tank, 40 years.
2011.
No, we didn't do that in 2011, we didn't.
That would be North Street.
We had to separate
It was
those,
$1
I
million.
believe.
So far, we've paid 12,795 for the other one.
For the USDA one?
Yes.
That's West Street, okay.
The water bond is $500,000. That's water though, that's not storm over
No,
No, that was,
30
that was
years.
West Street, I think.
USDA was 30
Yeah.
years. Holly Hall was 20 years.
Okay, anything else we need to know about this budget before we move on?
We're not there right at the moment. We're at a different.
Right.
Gotcha.
So, let's see here. Do we need just, anything more with,
Well, I'd like to see the end of, we haven't seen all of his budget yet, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
So 2.6.
Eric, what'd you budget for salt this year? Or
I kept it the same, I believe, at 7 miles.
Isn't
Can you
it,
go back up, Valerie? Just check out that salt line down and, materials. So,
70.
yeah, I left it the same. The sand went up a little bit because of her sand prices are going up.
What about these, I read a VT Digger article, one town is doing like a slush kind of mix of
Brine.
salt. Yeah.
Brian,
Oh,
yeah.
Brian?
You gotta set
Seems
the
like they're
trucks-
saving money. I mean, it's a huge investment to get the equipment to do it.
Well, that's the thing, it costs roughly 5 to 10 grand to get started
Okay.
for the machine to make
For
the
what?
brine,
For
Yeah.
just, oh, okay, yeah.
okay? And then after that, then you gotta get a tank for the truck, a
Okay.
pump, which is minimum, probably less than 1,000 to equip the truck.
Okay.
I
Seems
wanted
like
that,
it sticks better, right? I mean, there's certain
it
kinds of
activates
weather.
faster.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, there wasn't there, I thought the state used to, they were doing it a lot more than they are now, and they
Well-
stopped doing it because of
Well,
damage to the truck with the rust and the,
it's
salt,
it's a lot more destroying on the vehicle, absolutely.
Actually,
and the roads
distributing
as
it
well,
well.
wasn't it?
No, they
No?
just,
Okay.
they didn't have the mixture down right, so it tended to freeze on them quicker. And now they got instead of spraying it on a bar like they were doing it, they spray it onto the
Cloth.
spinner on the truck
Okay.
with the salt.
So they're setting both down.
Right, at the same time. But the brine makes the salt activate faster and you don't necessarily use as much.
Okay.
And I've been contemplating in the last few years of doing it. I've been checking prices. I had, a lady from Cargill came down and we went over, possible places to put the machine and,
Okay.
and things. And then I was also talking with Josh up to Starksboro and we were talking about going in halves on one.
In
And,
terms of manufacturing of the.
The brine.
yeah,
Okay.
so he's got more room up there now than what I do for the machine, so we would go and have it up there, we'd make the brine. I got the trailer that I use for chloride, I can run up with that, fill that up,
Yeah.
bring it back.
You would only use that on paved
I think
roads
it's-
though, right?
I think-
Yes,
Using
you
that
don't
on
use it on dirt, no,
Okay.
no,
I think that might be a conversation to have
later on, but
when and if we get a new garage,
Okay.
we'll have the room.
Yeah, I'm just
Yes.
curious how, over
The
a
bro-
certain amount of time, what our numbers would look like in terms of.
And I did ask the lady from Cargill, there is a town that kept some data and she forwarded it to me.
Okay.
What they saved, and it was a fairly decent amount of money they
Okay.
saved on salt
And you can
payback
also
is pretty
use
quick.
it,
for
in lieu
dust
of,
control.
chloride, calcium chloride. in
And it
summertime.
works almost as good as chloride.
So let's say we had something like that, where would we see changes? What line items? Is it
Salt line,
just salt or? is it-
salt line would go down.
Okay.
That's it,
And your
yeah.
chloride line might go down or stay the same, 22,000?
If we opted to use it as dust control, yeah, the chloride line would go down. I wouldn't use it strictly for dust control, cause it doesn't do as good of a job.
Okay.
But that 2 line items could drop.
Okay. But you said it's maybe more corrosive
It's
on,
definitely more corrosive.
on the truck that's spraying it.
Yep.
What about cars that are driving on the roads?
You don't wanna
wouldn't,
be behind them.
I was gonna say, it would probably have the same effect.
Okay.
It does have the same effect.
Yikes.
That's why cars are being taken off the road left and right, because they're rotting out.
Okay.
So, and if we did end up going that way, the truck that sprays it, I would have,
It would be
For-
just a
for exa-
pavement truck, right?
well, not only that, but for example, I would send it to G Stones, for example, and have it sprayed, that
Undercoat.
undercoating and stuff on the,
Okay.
underneath it, just to help
Yeah,
with the corrosion part of it.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a tremendous amount of paved roads, but still, if
If the savings is there.
yeah, if the savings is there, and it's obviously we're collaborating with a neighboring town as well that might be interested in doing it. But yeah, I think, Joel, I think you're right, like that, we could have a discussion at that point.
Yeah, well, Eric, if got a brine truck set up and the state doesn't have any dirt roads, so they can't, it's a moot point with them. But if you go from switching from salt, put some sand on and shut your brine off and go sand your roads?
Mhm.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
you're not having, that truck isn't then dedicated just for doing brine
No, cause what it would
Yeah.
have, it'd have a tailgate tank
tank. Okay, I
And
saw
then you
those in
have
the
your
state
pump,
trucks a few
and
years
they would
ago.
point
I don't
directly
see 'em
on the
anymore.
spinner, so you'd have an on-off switch for the pump.
Okay,
Well, this is an important discussion,
Yeah.
let's stick to budget.
Yeah.
well, I was wondering if we
Bring it
could cut the
Alright.
salt down
It's
a little
okay,
bit.
no, a good
I mean,
question.
the last 2 years, we haven't spent, oh, well,
Close.
21, 22, you spent 66.
If that's accurate.
What's that?
I said, if that's accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do we know if anything is accurate here?
How?
so.
I'm sorry. Sorry, but not, that's not to Sharon, no, or Chris, or Valerie.
No. But I did order more salt, so
You need to learn how
But-
to turn off.
I do need to learn how to turn this
No, it's.
thing off. I don't know how to do it.
Turn the phone off and it won't ring
Do
you.
it on the phone, yeah.
I tried that. I turned the volume all the way down, but
No,
still.
No, you
it's
gotta
still
turn your
ring, you gotta
ringer
turn
You gotta turn
your
your
ringer
Turn
off.
your ringer on.
Oh, you're
I say
smart.
that like I know, I don't know how to.
Or
work.
just
don't-
Or just don't get
I don't have-
notifications.
I guess I'll
on
ask you
your
this question in
watch.
public
Shaker's
here.
got it.
How
Okay.
much salt do you order in the month of late April and May and June?
Tell
So-
them cover on it.
Late April and May.
I'm
When
gonna
I
ask
do
Sharon
this,
tomorrow to tell me that
Right
number.
here, when it's
Progress.
when it, orange, it's off, and all it's gonna do is vibrate if you have it set to vibrate. But if you don't turn it back on, you're not gonna hear it ring, and you're gonna
You're
wonder,
gonna not
like in
believe
3 days, why nobody's calling.
His wrist
So-
will
Yeah,
vibrate.
his wrist will
Yeah,
vibrate.
your
He's
wrist will
got
still
the
vibrate.
ultra,
How do
so
I
it
do
should
that
just
then?
shake his
Push it back and
wrist
forth?
off.
Okay,
Oh,
let's come
okay.
back to our budget.
Perfect.
So is there anything more we need to know about
Orange
this
is off.
budget before we move on to the other two budgets we need to look at tonight before we can go home?
We can go home whenever we want.
True.
No, I think we're good. I mean, I don't have any other.
I don't have
And
any.
and then when we have more of the overall budget put
Yeah.
together, we'll
We'll
see
come
the
back.
whole big picture
Yeah.
and have
Yeah.
another chance to look back at things.
Thank
We
you.
aren't ready, we aren't prepared to talk about his capital.
No, and hopefully maybe next week.
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Alright, thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'll go back and see if I can up some line items.
Nope.
You're done, you can't do anything now.
In the Starks budget.
So that means if I'm done, you can't cut anything.
Bring my axe next week.
All right, so you guys all set with me then?
Yeah.
For this evening, yeah.
Proceed.
Go home
All
and
right.
go to sleep.
Go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Now I
get
gotta
some
go-
sleep
now I gotta go
before
to the Sacramento
tomorrow.
Fireburn.
Well, at least
Okay,
take
what's
closer
next?
home.
Meredith,
Have a good night.
next we have
See you
Meredith.
tomorrow.
Correct.
Recreation budget.
Correct.
There's
And
Taylor.
Taylor.
Hey, Taylor. And Mary's there somewhere too, right?
Yeah,
there
she's
she is.
right
She's
there.
there.
There she is.
Okay.
Who wants to start walking us through some numbers?
Right, well, we'll just start with the general operating fund. So just to start out with the program registration fees, we're doing pretty good. It's, we've been keeping 55 for a while, so it's time to bump it up to 60. And because of all the programming that we've taken on and developing, I think it's the right time to do so.
Yes.
Question,
Is that program registration include the youth sports?
yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
It has its own account.
So how that works is that I would really like to have the Bristol Youth Sports as in line, just so the public can see it, because it affects so many people participating in it. How that the Bristol Youth Sports is gonna work is the rec department takes 20% off the registration that we receive. So yeah, I mean, that's included in there. That's what that's our plan. That was the plan, was 20% off what we brought in for registrations. And then the rest goes into BYS.
So
And
20% of 60,000 will be Bristol Youth Sports?
Or 20% of revenues from the sports.
20, so what we do is we take 20% off of the registration fee that we've collected from Bristol Youth Sports.
So do you have a
number?
number?
Well, right now, just because it's our first year, what we've brought in is $44,004 or $4,400.
44.
That's
So-
basketball and cheer. So what?
So when did that start?
We opened it up November 1st.
So not to double that by no means, because you're probably gonna have more in this winter than you, but could you put that to 5 or 6? Or for a 12-month period?
Well, she has increased it from 55 to 60.
No, this is a separate line item.
Yeah, where the
The
green
40
box is now.
Gotcha.
Wait, okay, I might be lost now, because the
So is
question
the
was,
4,400 is, I guess to clarify, is the 4,400 what you've taken in? Or is
Yes.
that what your 20% is?
no, that's what we've taken in total for
So
just
it's-
basketball
so
and
it's
just cheer.
$880 then, of
Yeah.
revenue for the Bristol Rec Department. Is that, to say that? Am I correct in saying that or no?
Yeah, I
There you
guess,
go.
yeah, so 20%, yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, then don't up it to 6. No, no, you see where I was going with
Yeah,
that.
I knew where you were at.
6.5 from
So Meredith, so Val's added in a separate line for Bristol Youth Sports. So,
A revenue line.
revenue line. So what would, do you have what the 2024-25, what your intake might be? You have a rough number in terms of for all of the activities that Bristol Youth Sports brings?
No,
You'll have,
we don't have that because we don't have a clear enough, we haven't gotten enough information from the coaches that are going to do field hockey, lacrosse. And
Okay.
we're in the conversation with Matt Myers about Little League and what way we can help them. So no,
Okay.
because it's such a new program, I don't have the forecast.
Would it make sense to put in $5,000 as a placeholder?
I think that's a bit
high.
steep
I
to
was
start.
thinking 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I would, because I want to be cautious on the first year.
Yeah.
So two sounds like ideal.
Okay.
I was thinking even 1,500 or 2, no.
Well, you've been what now? 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah.
It's
800.
November.
November. So
You got really 2 more sports to do at least,
three
field hockey and
months.
lacrosse.
So if you get 8 at those, you're 24, so 2 should be a safe number.
Yeah, and then we can always circle back on that next year.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have more information next year.
But what I'm saying is, with the Bristol Youth Sports there, we don't have to change the registration fee line, correct?
So line 11, are we altering that because we've added the new Bristol Youth Sports line?
No,
Okay.
Those will be separate.
I just want to clarify, so the $880 is what would be added to the program registration fees, which is why we've increased it to 60,000. What Meredith has brought in so far for this year is $4,400.
Correct. And
Where's the
that's-
rest of that 4,400 go?
There, right there.
into BYS, into the Bristol Youth Sports account.
Oh, okay.
So then that should
Separate
be 4,400
That's
where the
right.
880 is?
Yes.
Correct. That should be 4,400, and the overall budget should be around what, Meredith? Do you think 6,000 for the entire year? 7,000 for the entire year? What do you think?
Oh, then you're gonna have then you're gonna have an expense line that's gonna say Bristol Youth Sports
Yeah,
is an
Yeah.
expense.
So if we leave
Correct.
that at, if we say $2,000, then it should be 10,000. 20% of
Yeah.
10,000 is $2,000 if we want to carry that.
Logic.
Then yeah, then say that.
So you said, you
Right.
would say Bristol Youth
Yes.
Sport $10,000 for next year, but there's gonna be expense item for
Yeah.
$2,000.
No, there's gonna be expense for
8.
10.
Yeah.
yeah, and
A
just to let you
revenue
know,
of
like,
We're gonna make 2.
A revenue of 10, an expense of 8.
there
But there's
are,
also a separate fund that has been established for the Bristol.
Which
Youth
is what that
Sports,
is.
which
This is our income?
Outside of the
No.
operating.
When we
budget.
get down to expenditures,
That-
there's gonna be something that takes that
That-
$8,000.
That separate fund will be this line, will be line 18.
Because one of the concerns was that at the end of the fiscal year, it goes away. And the idea is for the Bristol Youth Sports Fund to not zero out at the end of the year, like a reserve fund, so
Oh.
Like a
to,
reserve fund.
carry over
So
from year to
what-
year.
What creates that fund?
The treasurer.
Can we?
yeah, we discussed this,
we
we discussed
can't-
this in
How do we
October.
need to do that in the budget?
Yeah,
Because we need to show it somewhere.
so Meredith, yeah.
So we discussed Bristol Youth Sports before we took it on. I think it was the last select board meeting in October. so Bristol Youth Sports, there was about $14,000 transferred into the Bristol Rec Department by Bristol Youth Sports. And then what we've done is not touch that. And what that $4,400 is just in registration that we've taken in from basketball and cheer. So the goal is that, moving forward, that we get the 20% off the registration fees for that. Just the basketball, we've already spent about $1,000, it'll be probably about $1,600 for just the expense on basketball. But, yeah, there is a $14,000 check that we got from Arakota BYS. It's not on.
And that, that expense for the basketball came out of this other fund that was set up?
What we've done is we've taken money, so BYS, there is its own item line for expenses, and that's where we've taken out of.
Is that BYS expense item in your budget here?
Under expenditures?
I understand the fund.
I don't think it's been written.
We need the taxpayers
so-
to make
Need
us.
to add it.
Okay,
Need to,
So I
Hold
think
on.
I'm confused about the 20% and where
right,
that goes.
so here it is, so the general operating fund for the rec department will take in the entire amount
Right,
for Bristol Youth Sports because they're taking it over.
Right.
There's gonna be a separate fund, which is one that needs to be created, that's
Alright.
independent of their budget, already has been created.
But it hasn't through the taxpayers.
taxpayers.
Anything we do where we carry money over, we have to
Yeah.
have permission.
And then out of the Bristol Youth Sports line item, which is the full amount of money that's taken in, 20% of that goes into the program registration fees. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so
Have
that's,
you already put that 20% in that, is that 20%
Yes.
included in that 60,000?
So we took a lot of credit cards in November, December. If the credit cards have been processed correctly, that would be in there.
okay,
No, is that where you've already, for this budget, you put that 20% in that $60,000?
Or that 32?
Or do we need to add that 20% to the 60,000?
Do not want to add the 20% to the 60,000. The 60,000 should also. And now I feel like I'm just like confused.
The
as
60,000
now as
includes
well.
20%.
okay, it includes, the 60,000 includes 20. So,
Yeah.
before we do anything else, Val, change the amount. Go back to what the original is, because that
44.
yeah, that line isn't a 20%. So what you'll do is you'll change that amount to the 44, and then, yeah, here we go. Before we do anything else, let's get this sorted. Okay, and so now our budget for that,
Should be,
Speaker was saying like 10. Are we worried about that? Do we want to change that?
should be 8 because 2 of it is
Okay,
going to.
so let's go with 8,000 for the budget, and then for your 20% of registration fees, take that and put it in the notes for program registration fees, and just have a BYS includes 20% of BYS registration fees.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right there,
that's-
includes.
yes.
So
So that 60,000 includes the 20% that goes into
are you
that fund.
concerned
That's
about?
the question I asked.
Hold on, but are you concerned about
That
the
was
fact
the
that they're
first-
moving 20% from one line item to another? Is that what you're confused about?
No,
What I thought I heard was that the 20% is included in that 60.
it is,
Yes.
but we just want a note saying
note,
that
just the note.
20%
So
comes
that- So
from.
that
BYS.
That line of BYS that was just added should come out then.
No,
No,
No.
no,
Not
that
under-
money, that $8,000 is gonna go in the special account that we're gonna create, that Sharon's already created.
Because it already has money in it.
And then they'll operate BYS out of that account. 20% of that,
60,000 is gotta go
no,
no, 20%.
20% of the 10,000,
Right.
which is 2,000, is already included in the 60,000. So we need a note saying that
Includes
includes 20%
of BYS.
BYS.
Yes, and actually, we should take out line item 18, right?
Well, that's what I'm asking,
Yes,
because it's double counting.
that's right. We should take that out if it's its own unique thing that's not part of their budget. The part of their budget is the 20% from that fund.
So
But it
where
shouldn't
do
be-
we
but it
show
shouldn't
the
be-
income for that?
Right, so how do we do that then?
Well, is it
Right
kind
out
of
of
what we did
60,000.
by swim? I mean,
Say that again?
well, we created the account line for swimming.
Yeah,
So in theory, I mean, that money, what we bring in and then we expend out of that swim program.
right, but that's gonna be different than what sounds like your Bristol Youth Sports, unless you were saying that the money coming in from line 18 now does not go into the fund that has the 14,000 from Eric Carter and BYS. Is that correct?
So what we bring in should go into the BYS and we take the 20% off of like basketball full registration. We take the 20% off.
Okay, so Val, what are your thoughts of how
So
to?
here's my question.
Yeah.
In this operating budget, the expenses for the BYS
Yeah.
programming, does it come out of this operating budget or the other fund
The other
that's
fund, that's
separate?
where it's been
It should
coming
come out of the BYS fund.
Right, okay, so the only thing that should be reflected in this operating budget is the 20%
Okay.
that's going into this programming overhead.
So,
Sure.
but how do we show that then if there's expenses that are coming out of this budget?
But apparently they're not. I mean,
The
Yeah, but we
expenses
gotta-
are
we gotta-
coming out of
We gotta
BYS.
be transparent with our taxpayers
Yeah,
of
well, there should
what's
be.
coming in and going out,
Yeah.
so.
In the town report, there'd be a separate report, just like all the other reserve funds and all the other kind of
To do a
project
report
funds.
for BYS.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
Okay.
Meredith, I have a question. So you've been budgeting for the last 2 years, $55,000.
Yes.
And I don't disagree with you needs to go to 60 because you're taking in, without talking about BYS, you've taken in more pottery and more other stuff, classes. So you're moving up to 60.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But now we think we're gonna go to 10,000 just for BYS. I only see a $5,000 increase on line 11.
No, it has not, no, that's,
No,
line
because that
11
money's
is
not
only
going.
20% of
Okay,
of
Of the-
whatever
the
BYS.
5,000 is, part of that is the 20% of BYS.
Right, right.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Because I was wondering if that should say line 11 should say program registration fees plus 20% of BYS.
It
Well,
does.
that's why we put it.
That's
in
You
the-
put it over in the notes instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, so you're getting rid
I'm
of line
sorry,
18.
It is program registration fees, that note
Oh.
is so that we know what it is.
so I guess my question then, there are charges for BYS that we won't see in this budget in terms of the expenditures,
Like
correct?
if
You're
buying,
not supposed to, right?
well,
Okay.
like purchasing equipment and things like
And
that.
so, so there shouldn't be a line for Bristol Youth Sports in expenditures at all.
That's
Correct.
my understanding. But Meredith, you will be doing a report for the town report of what you take in and what you go out
Yeah.
for.
yeah, I will, yeah, and I'll have to hop on that pretty quick to get it into the town report.
How do we-
That's one thing I just didn't count for, but it's great is that I have the information so I can easily get it to Ian and Sharon for the town report.
Okay.
So,
So how do we show that money? Where do we show that money?
In the town report.
In that
Town
report.
The
As
14
a
you
capital,
mean the-
should be a capital fund.
In the reserve rec
that
fund,
was what you got written one check. But my question is,
The expenditures,
Yeah.
if we're gonna
You
take
can show that.
$10,000 and we're keeping 20% or $2,000, how do we get the 8,000 to whoever, where's that 8,000 going? To,
To a separate fund.
It's gonna be,
So it rolls over.
hold on, let Meredith,
Yeah.
go ahead.
the Bristol Youth Sports Recreation Reserve Fund, so it doesn't get, so the money stays into that line, into that account.
okay, but therefore we have no budget for Bristol Youth Sports.
Not in this operating budget.
Well, it
Well,
won't be in any operating budget.
well, you've gotta show under expenditures, you've gotta show
No,
the,
she's taking them out of that special account. It's not coming out of her budget.
so the only place it'll show is in her report.
I'm gonna ask the assistant treasurer, is that what we're doing?
Well, isn't that how we do the,
Capital.
capital reports?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We don't have the amounts of the fire department truck that we paid for in the general budget.
right.
It's in a separate fund.
and the thing that distinguishes this from other reserve funds is that this isn't tax money.
Right.
This is program money. And
Oh,
so,
It was
yeah,
gifted.
so that doesn't
Right.
require voter approval. We're not taking tax dollars to set it aside for a specific purpose. Instead, it's an accounting mechanism.
So you make one check a year to that fund?
It's similar to the scholarship fund.
Direct department?
Yeah, those are gifts.
Meredith or Sharon, can anybody?
No,
else?
everything goes into that,
I need to
everything,
move out of here to her revenue line.
so I would say everything goes into that fund, and then
Yeah.
20% of, a check is written for 20% to the rec department.
20% of
Wow.
registration.
Registration.
Okay, that's where we come up with the 60.
Yeah.
Okay, great,
I was just
all right.
under auditing.
Clear as mud.
Yeah,
Clear
that
as
was
mud
that was
to
a very
me.
roundabout way, but now we understand it. So we have this separate fund, and then we'll have the town report will have its own report about that particular program.
Yeah.
Any
So
other,
we do not need to create a separate, because it's not taxpayer money.
yeah,
Correct.
The only taxpayer money is the 20%.
yeah,
And that's going right into the budget.
okay.
And that pays for salary, Meredith and Taylor and all
Well,
that.
I'm
That's
glad
not-
you confused
That's
this,
not even
Meredith.
taxpayer.
I'm sorry. I got a little sidetracked too, because all of a sudden it turned to mud and I was, yeah.
No, you're all good. But
Right.
we needed to have the note in there, which is good. Any other questions in terms of her? So you've got the increase for the, wait, stay on the
Yeah.
revenue. So we got 60,000, so you're bumping up swimming
And pottery.
and pottery.
Swimming, I have to bump up, just to let you know, so 7615, that's where we're at right now. I still have probably another 1,000 hopefully coming in for the vacation swims and the June swim class. So we should be right on target on that.
So just to clarify, Meredith put these numbers in the notes
Yeah,
to reflect what they believe are the actual numbers rather than
the
these.
actuals.
Unaudited
Yeah,
numbers, yeah.
the.
Okay,
Okay, it's
And
good.
it's mostly
So-
credit cards that we're just trying to catch up on, and because most people pay by credit card.
So your actual for 22, 23 is 60,000. And it looks like you're on track this year to be 60,000. Should we raise that to 62 to reflect that 20%, or you wanna stay where you are just until you get history?
I'd like to get history, and then we can move it up next year. I just don't feel comfortable guessing.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
so
That's fair.
big jump in pottery. What was the change there? I guess it was.
So Matlock added a Thursday, no, she
Oh,
added
that's right.
2 classes, the Wednesday morning clay class, it gets full. And then added a Thursday play after evening class. So, it's just, and that's more expensive, the adult programs.
Yeah.
And it's just a big hit to come
Great.
around.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, if your actual is 16, that's great. I mean, the 22, 23 was that too. All right. Holly Hall events, obviously going up.
Yep. So, with all the hall events, people are renting for just small parties or big.
So,
parties.
Yeah.
so Meredith, that zero there is just stuff hasn't been
I
coded
don't know.
yet?
I'm not sure why that, there is, so in the
she's-
events, what we do is
Yeah.
like, for example, we're
She
doing
thinks
the
2388 should
dance,
be in
square
No, that's
dances.
what she's at.
Right,
Any
but
of
we
those
got
square
zero.
dances that bring a donation goes into that Holly Hall event.
Oh, okay.
It's related. So, for example, Best Night didn't happen, but they gave us $300. That would be what that, like, that's that 300 part of the 2388 is.
So
Okay.
could we say
I ha-
I'll say you've done a good job of that 2388, from June 30th, July 1 of last year to now, you've taken in that much money. Should we change that zero under actual to 2388?
Yeah, that would be great. And then I can,
No, I know exactly, that, all those numbers
I
over
know.
there are her actuals for
Yeah. Her little tally sheet.
And just the other things that are part of that is like the memory tree, the trolley rides, all those events that are outside, those are what are considered under the Holly Hall events.
Okay,
So under patio studio revenue, you say you've taken in 1688.3, and we've got down $12,090.
Yeah, because most people pay by credit card, and I think we're still catching up on credit cards.
So all the numbers, like even the program fees. is
4292.
38.
Yeah.
38, 7 for the.
I mean,
swim.
Valerie's putting the numbers in, I don't know where you got those, but.
From the budget reports.
Yeah, it just means they don't have all the information in the budget reports yet.
Yeah.
Like Meredith said, they're
No,
catching
that
up on
means
entering
Meredith
that
probably
stuff.
hasn't told us what needs to transfer
Right.
from a revenue fund
Into that fund.
wherever she wants it to go.
Yeah.
Can we,
And we're working on that. We're
could
like,
we say that we could put the 1688 instead of
I would just
12,000?
leave it until they.
Yeah,
get it up
just
to-
just have it in the
You guys
notes,
like
yeah.
the budget like that, I don't, but.
Well, that's
Well,
just,
they're not
that's just
actual
the
numbers.
actual.
That's right, we don't.
They're
we
not
don't- we-
actual.
We don't have the actual.
So she's pulling them out of her butt?
No,
No,
she has them, but they haven't, she hasn't.
No, I'm
given
gonna
them.
be seriously.
She
No.
has them, but they haven't been given to.
they aren't in the
So they're
book.
actual, but they're not actual for our
That's
treasurer.
right.
They're not in the
They're
book.
not
They aren't
actually
in the books
actuals.
yet.
They're not out of her.
They're not
out
in
of
the
her
books. You can't show actuals that aren't
I'm not
actually
saying
there.
Sharon's gotta get audited about that, but we're budgeting tonight and
No, I know,
we're sitting here throwing a dart.
yeah.
No, she's
Well,
giving
no,
us
she's
her
giving
so
us
what I
the-
have is, so my program that I run the Bristol Recreations Department through is called MyRec. And it only processes a reporting of actual money that's been brought in. And so when I run my reports of how much money I brought in for checks, cash, or credit card, these are the amounts that come up that we have taken in from people who are doing classes or renting the Holly Hall.
Right. And it hasn't been
Updated.
on outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the Holly Hall rentals, I've collected money, and I've actually collected money for programs that for rentals that are gonna happen next month.
Okay. All right, yeah.
You gotta include that first line too, Valerie, in your yellow.
I'm fine leaving them, I think the next time we look at this, which might be next week, we'll probably maybe see those numbers change in our actuals.
I'm adding real quick, the yellow lines versus what's in the note lines.
Yeah.
And about $24,000. So when I look up there and say, okay, have we spent, instead of 58.6, 82.6.
We've made.
Revenue.
No, on our actual revenue,
Made.
yes, 82 versus, that's where I'm coming with this, you people.
Correct.
And
That's the total.
that's a total of
82, so we're only 10 off of our goal, off of our budget.
What do you got, 40,000 there, Valerie, you added those all up?
No.
Yeah, well,
I
your
just-
line 14, I don't know how you do that with the note that's in there. Because she's got 1490 plus June Wheels Camp of 2,500, so that number's not gonna be right.
I just crisscrossed
That's
it
just-
back,
Yeah.
added in my
That's
head.
just
Yeah,
the-
well, hopefully we'll update our actuals, column L by the next time we look at this.
That's
But it
right.
looks like you're on track to meet your
Yeah.
projections,
Right.
and you're
That's
in
what
a
I
good-
was getting, yeah.
Yeah,
and you're in a good spot.
okay.
I think that
Can we move
58
down to expenditures?
I think that 58 could be more like 84 right now.
No, because the money is not in the account.
It should be 84, it just hasn't been done yet,
Yeah.
yes.
She hasn't transferred it from the top of the stairs to the bottom of the stairs.
Exactly.
It's somewhere in between,
That's-
because
that's-
it's
It's out on the
credit
sidewalk somewhere, right?
Yeah,
That's
well,
your
you
treasury,
can't-
your treasury.
It's like saying, I paid my payment, I gave it to Joel. Well, Joel hasn't given it to the teller yet, so it hasn't come off
Yeah.
of my,
or it's
you
a
know,
credit card payment that hasn't been processed, so it's in
Right.
the ether, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's the 81,000 is
Perfect.
about the.
All right.
So expenditures,
Expenditures.
So Meredith is proposing to allocate 100% of the assistant director or coordinator position to the rec department and 0 to the teen center. And this budget reflects that.
Yeah, so when I came on board in 2018, this was the plan. This is how it was designed, was, the assistant was, how we designed it was the assistant would be 20 hours at the hub and 20 hours at the rec department. Now with BYS and just different players, I'm finding that with more programming, that it's just, we're very busy, and having Zach at the rec department full-time will be great. And allow the rec department to kind of just stay on top and also excel. The other thing that was considered is that when we changed it from 20-20 hour split to a 30-10, even when Zach gets to the hub, it's really hard to help Taylor with programming or anything like that, because he's only there for 10 hours out of the week.
Yeah, okay. All right,
And that's not to say that as part of the overall department, he still wouldn't be available to the
Yeah.
hub as needed. 'Cause the hub is part of the department,
Right.
so there's
We're
still.
pretty
Yeah,
good
it's no
about,
different than the time that Meredith spends working with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and I can say when it was Val and I could have used Val a heck of, I mean, Val worked a lot more hours and ended up with comp time more often than
Yeah.
she should have, far more often than she should have.
all right, so 34 is our next one, or no, wait,
33.
33.
What's that? Come on.
What do you mean?
so this is
Line 30, the other ones we
Oh.
can't really touch,
Right.
right? So,
the mileage 34.
Yes.
okay,
So I'm working with Sharon on transferring. It's a human error on my part. The last digits of those line codes are 00 or 01. And I definitely caught myself with a 01 when it should have been a 00. So we are making that happen this week to update that. So really the 870 is probably at another, it's probably like 1,800. And then I still have I have a couple more billings that I need to put in because we just got, the van looked over. So that needs to be updated.
So you're $1,000 about's coming out of the mileage, so it's a wash or no? Going to transportation? Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
most of that should be going to transportation. What I'm in the process of doing is finding the exact receipt to make sure that the exact right amount of money is transferred over into the transportation. I do remember, the mileage, I think a couple of, maybe a $60 probably, but that's what I'm currently working on, is to make sure that's cleaned up.
Right, but the numbers are accurate. If you add those two numbers together, those
Right.
equals those two lines. They're just not coded right.
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 Okay.
Yeah, you're not spending any more money, it's just they're not coded correctly. Okay. What's the 5,000 for transportation now?
Oh, that is for anything that we need to do with the van. And also I can't put 20 kids in that van. I still have to rent a bus for my mountain bike programs.
Oh, okay.
And that runs
So
about
close.
$300-$400 to use the big bus. But I gotta.
Okay.
Training, $800.
Yeah.
So even with that, some of that is just in-house training, also national parks and rec. That's an opportunity that will need money. And we're also been, going to the VPRA conferences. So that's part of training.
I mean, do you wanna, in 22, 23 was 1,131, and then you budgeted 600, and now we're at 682 actual, potentially. Is 800 gonna be enough for that, or are you gonna go over that again?
I'm hoping not to go over it because the VPRA, that should be it. And then, yeah, I mean, I feel like we should just kind of be at that 800.
Okay,
And then if we go over one more time, then we're gonna have to bump it up, but
okay.
What's the increase in equipment,
That was my question.
Meredith? What are you planning on buying?
so what we need to do is we need to purchase some new mats for gymnastics. How it works is we store the mats at BES, and everybody that goes to BES gets to use these mats. That's ELP and the gymnasium, the, like gym class. And so there's a lot of wear and tear on our equipment. And it hasn't been updated in, I want to say, 10 years. So safety, we have to do about almost $500, $800 just for that equipment.
What do you do with the old ones?
They're gonna be what we would do with the old one, I'd probably bring it over to the Holly Hall where the other old ones are. And use them as library reading mats, but nothing to tumble on.
Yep,
So-
We used it for toddler time and stuff like that.
yeah, that's good.
Are there other, that's more of capital equipment purchase, it's not a maintenance or a annual purchase. Should we be setting, instead of putting that in this line, should we have a fund and put a little bit of money in it every year so we don't get these spikes every time something like this comes along?
Yeah, I mean, that for equipment, that is the biggest use that we have. Of course, that's a great idea because, we've got bikes in our fleet now too. And so those bikes that we've gotten from a grant, 3 years ago, they're gonna be those bikes need to be turned around after next year, after this following summer.
And you do skis too, right? And snowshoes?
Yeah, so, the skis Taylor got through a grant, and I'm not sure, if that's available again.
Grant, I don't know. We don't have snowshoes at the library, but we have
Skis.
skis. And yeah, when they get used up, I don't know what we're gonna do. I hope we have snow though they got used, so I mean, we do right now, but.
Meredith, building on Peter's idea about that match for equipment, what about when you've taken on now Bristol Youth Sports, you mentioned field hockey and lacrosse, well, we have to buy, take lacrosse, you got helmets and
That money
sticks.
all comes out of that special
That'd be
fund.
So that'll come out of that special fund?
Yep, we
Okay,
won't touch that. That does not reflect any BYS equipment. This is more
Okay.
gymnastics,
Okay.
dance. If we take on Taekwondo again,
I'd like to see I realize, I don't know if we pay anything at the Bristol Elementary, BES to rent the school, use the school. But we don't, then I would kind of say it's a wash, you can use the mats and we get the gym for free.
That's
Yeah,
what we always had to pay
that's what we're
rentals.
doing. Yeah, we were charged rent, for 2 years, and we were the only ones that were being charged for rent, when we did gymnastics, and luckily, we had a meeting and that was the rental.
Resolved.
Okay,
Nice.
so where would that fund go?
Well,
That would be a capital.
we'd have to establish a capital equipment fund for the purchase of
Okay,
mats, skis, bikes.
okay,
And then we
Rec
would
Department
need,
Capital Equipment Fund.
okay,
yeah, and then, I mean, the supply line would end up staying there.
yeah,
And we'd put X amount of dollars a year into that.
okay.
I don't know if there's any, I'm gonna say it the way I wanna say it, any undesignated funds
That's
that we
fine.
could use to start that, but
Yeah,
I think if we're gonna have ongoing capital expenses, that it's
Yeah.
not fair to take, like, if you come in 2 years and say, I need new bikes, and that's gonna be $5,000, that's not a true representation of that line.
As an operating budget.
As an
yeah,
operating-
and it's always gonna be different too. depending-
Yeah.
Right.
And I think you
could
could,
plan out, but it's always gonna be a different number.
right, and I think we can, I haven't looked all the way down through, because we can only see down the line 49, but have you gotten any money set aside for I mean, in 12, 15 years, or whatever, you're gonna have to replace the van.
Right.
Now, if you establish a van, then we're gonna have to replace it someday.
Yeah,
And
now,
that might be the same thing to put into a capital, you know?
that's a good point. I mean, it would be
So-
nice, now that are able to have a van for accessibility, it will be difficult to, if it does end up
It
not.
will.
They do
It
wear
will,
out.
I know, it's
I
because
would
all
say that
that
right
brine
now.
is on the road, all that salt.
So that's a voter for that
Right.
particular one, is that
To
correct?
to create a fund.
Yeah.
Create a fund.
Okay,
And lo and
That-
behold,
that's-
later on this agenda, we're gonna be talking about the warning, and we can
okay,
plan to
Okay.
add a line
But
to
I
it.
think
But
we,
that's where if you wanna carry money over,
yeah,
so that we don't get,
That's
so we
right.
take the same hit every year and don't take a big hit this year, no hit
Yeah.
the following year,
and we would figure out our amount that we're adding into that each year, is that correct?
yeah.
Just like we do with the fire department
Yeah.
and all that.
and, you know, with Bruce and the cruisers, we
Yeah.
put so much aside every year in the capital
Yeah,
vehicle
okay,
fund.
I mean, that makes sense, they're only gonna, have more and more things that'll need to be replaced, and if the van can come out of that, that makes sense as well.
If we can plan to keep it so that it's level, you won't get the spike in the
Yeah.
taxes.
Okay,
I mean, unfortunately, taxes don't go down, but I would say the more consistent we can be, the better
Yeah.
off we'd be.
yeah. So, okay, so that's equipment, so that might change if we agree to work on that. For the technology computers, there's nothing in there at the moment in terms of actuals for this year. There was 3295 in the previous year, and we're still at
Yes.
4700. Is
That's-
that,
That
Yeah.
is that should be the MyRec like how we run our,
oh, okay.
Your
So that's like the
user
annual.
the
fee.
MyRec, that's,
Are you, I
Subscription
thought,
fee.
I thought we put in notes on that last time, and it wasn't
Oh,
that,
you know, that guy's
it
doing.
wasn't that,
Tell them.
Well,
that
is
wasn't
that-
that line, it was another line, I
Is that
thought.
part of, is Dominion Tech come out of that line, you know, Sharon?
I don't
But
know.
don't they
I
have
don't think
Dominion
so.
Tech costs
They
too?
have Dominion Tech costs, they have Office 365 and the monthly fee.
But I think that's
Yeah,
software,
so-
and I thought the MyRec came out of something else that we can't see. I don't think it's that.
I think the guy's doing
How about under
the town
programs?
report raced it last
Oh,
year.
Our annual fees? Nope, that's only $700.
that's really.
No, I
nice.
was looking at in-house programming, where it says 25,000, 19,000 was spent so far this year.
Where are you looking? What line?
Line 47.
Right at the
Oh,
bottom.
programs.
Is that under programs, Meredith, where MyRec comes from?
Oh,
I don't
that's
think
something
so.
else.
I don't think no, I don't remember.
I thought there was a software line. Isn't there a software
Yeah, I
line?
thought so.
Rec department, it goes under equipment.
Goes under equipment.
Equipment?
That's the Dominion Tech number,
That's
she
the
was saying.
Dominion Tech numbers.
Okay, that should be cleaned up. Because
Yeah.
it's different in other budgets. There's a software line.
Cause we got equipment there.
I don't know, does she have a software line?
No,
Well,
should
not
have.
But
Doesn't
other
look like it.
budgets do, and I thought that's where,
Yeah, computer.
Yeah.
I think,
Well, technology and computer would be a,
right,
Yeah.
but it's,
I thought in the past we just had the technology fund and that's where computers came
that's
from.
what I-
No,
But not the software.
yeah, the
Gotcha.
software
Right.
comes out differently,
okay.
the subscriptions come out different.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we need to either put it under technology computers or add a software line, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think tech computers makes sense to put that.
Well, but
kind of
it's,
stuff.
I would say it's different. Computers, I think of like a physical thing, and that's not what that line is
But
or
for.
we
what
have
is
the-
technology?
We have the technology fund, the reserve fund that we've been,
Yeah, for that.
yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Having computers
Can't just,
in a line that doesn't buy computers doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Maybe
Um,
you just change the
just
line.
take the S off computer and put software, computer
Or
software
technology
licensing.
software.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
And should there be a little more explanation on 38 under new? Are we gonna spend, I look at that and say, oh, we're gonna spend $2,000 on new gym mats?
Are you sure she doesn't have a rec department computers? Cause that's where my rec's been going to. 001-126-262200.
It says technology/computers.
It says rec department computers in here.
So
So somebody changed the name somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
What was the number you read out?
001
Yeah,
12
yeah,
626 22
Yep.
00.
yeah. So
000.
Yeah.
We got an extra zero an hour.
Yeah.
We all been a bunch of zeros
I
anyway.
would, if the,
So actually, probably, yeah, Dominion Tech should probably go under this from computer one too.
Yeah.
I would, I guess for everything that's like software based, I want to have something that's more a name that's more compatible with that. If all of our physical computers, the hardware comes out of the technology fund for all departments, is that correct?
So far.
Okay, then that's fine. So I would take, just for now, I would take computers out of that line.
Although, let's see, Meredith, when you got your new laptop.
We took it out of the technology fund.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's take computers out of there. And
So just software?
yeah, probably. I think that's a catch-all that Myrec, that Dominion Tech, because it isn't hardware.
Right.
And that's actually a subscription fee that they pay.
Mhm.
Yes. That's good for now. I'll look at the other
Yeah.
things. I think because they're different.
So some of that, that
Well, it's.
was in equipment before?
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Well, it's
See,
still,
like the
it's
clerk's
still in
office,
equipment,
it's
right?
considered computer programs, lister
Yeah.
software. Then we have general, that's computer. Planning zoning is computer,
Yeah.
admin assistant is computer.
Right.
There's only one
Can
that
we-
says software.
Can we get them consistent?
Yes, I'll work on
Yeah.
that. I'll think of a good name for that.
Yeah, because,
Hocus
Nemrick
pocus.
comes out of,
You might
know,
have
the
to
different
start calling it
subscriptions for
subscription,
Nemrick.
because everything
Yeah,
is
they
going
come
out.
out
Or,
of
yeah, or
One,
cloud
two.
subscriptions or
Yeah,
something like
whatever,
that,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's not called soft, most of them are called computer.
Yeah.
Well, then-
Because it has to do
But
with
then
it.
every year we look at that and we're like, what's that computer one in there? What is that?
They have a technology
So-
fund.
So what was the technology? What was that $4,700? What's that being spent on?
It's the Myrec software.
Okay.
It's their whole
Yeah,
platform
mine
that they.
was-
in
yeah,
Office
that's-
365.
So then we're gonna have to move out of that equipment line. We're gonna have to move
The Dominion
the
Tech.
Dominion Tech.
Yeah,
Correct.
I have a note.
Thanks, Sharon.
Okay, all right, so I'll work on that, yeah.
Okay.
So you probably should highlight
Equipment.
those equipment and, yeah, so that we know that we need to deal with them.
Okay. Advertising, facilities, rentals, everything looks about the same. Where are we? Yeah, there we go. Let's go down. Holly Hall custodial. That's
Yeah,
going
so it's just
down
500.
50%.
I just, it's just so much easier, maintaining it within ourselves. The 500 is for when there's, like after town meeting day, when the hall just gets so trashed.
Okay. Trash.
Say that louder, Meredith.
It gets so like,
It's not like it's a rockin' party.
it's all this,
You-
it's all the salt that's brought in from the roads.
Yeah.
That and voting the following day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that poor hall.
Yeah.
All right, printing. What's the note is paperless?
It's going more paperless.
Yeah, I don't do those guides anymore, and that was a big chunk of the money that
That's
we
a
were
big
spending.
expense. Yeah.
Okay. Swimming.
Yeah,
So
swimming.
that's a swimming line.
Yep, so the swimming line, we've, it's been bouncing around everywhere because of, well, COVID and then just trying to find instructors, but last summer we had a great instructor turnout, so.
So that's just in
we're
and
also
out.
paying them now. We
That's
gotta pay
nice. And then the programming line, and then events, and then the annual fees. Can we get more detail on this?
I
Is that
wrote
me from last year?
ERA membership. So the
Other-
membership's about, I think it was $350 for our department to be part of that.
Okay.
And miscellaneous, I don't know what was, actualed out of that.
Meredith, I don't understand line 46 swimming. You're reduced by 5,000 2022 in it. We budgeted,
I wasn't able to run the program fully. I could only run it with the amount of instructors that I had. So I wasn't spending out money. But I
so
didn't,
we
I don't think I ran.
budgeted 10, but we only spent 39. So that's where you're coming up with that $5,000.
That, I don't think
I'm just,
I don't know what that note means. All I know is that I have more instructors and we're,
well, that note's gonna stay unless we,
reduced by,
Could be
I
an old note. I think it
do
is.
we put beside after
No.
2022, old note, disregard?
Or just delete it.
Just, I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Let's
Just delete it.
Yes. And then we can take out my comment, because that was probably last year, that's my initials right there. And Meredith's put in the VPRA membership, so we can take out my comment. Because I'm reading it like, who's written that? Oh, it's me. A year ago,
So-
maybe 2 years ago.
For the swimming line, should we put a note there, cause it's gone up $3,000, more lessons or whatever, I don't know.
yeah,
Or-
we're finally hiring enough to do more lessons. So, and it takes about 7 instructors. And it is
Yeah.
much.
And the revenue is equal to that at the top of this. It's the 9,000, and this is the expenditure for that.
I personally would put more, I like that, more instructors are available
Yeah.
for more lessons.
Okay. And then, so miscellaneous is being spent, but you don't wanna, you
Can't
wanna
remember what
remove?
this- I don't
Thank
know
you.
what that-
Okay. Do we know what miscellaneous is?
It's miscellaneous.
Can we?
What,
can we-
what doesn't fit in anything else.
Right.
But she's not budgeting that.
Number.
Val's hidden
Now,
it.
do you know what?
Can you
Yeah.
unhide the very long number there?
Yes.
Let's see.
I don't know what I've got my head.
001
Mhm.
12 6 26 9500.
Give you guys a little advice, you only have to read the last 4 digits.
Oh, okay.
Because they're all the same.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Somebody's got their music really loud.
Yeah, I guess so.
Miscellaneous, she put her VRPA, $205, well,
That's supposed to be in the
That
one
was in
above.
2022, 2023 must be.
and then there's a payroll one for 78.75.
Well, that doesn't equal the numbers that are in there, but.
It says 283, she budgeted 300 in this, and
Yeah.
it's 283.75 according to what.
284.
That's it.
284, yeah.
There, yeah.
Okay,
And $63 this year, from July 1, right?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't show
Yeah, I
anything in
mean, we
it.
used to use it for things like when we had volunteers that like year after year, you
Go
know,
buy a pizza or
we
something.
would buy them a pizza, or sometimes
Okay,
I,
so-
you know,
so
buy
put-
somebody.
Put
lunch,
300
something.
back in there.
You know, it was-
Well, the VRPA should be going up in the line
Correct.
item above.
Let's
right.
see, what'd you say, 62, so she bought something on the credit card for 52.71. Actually, they're all credit card charges, so she must have bought something under miscellaneous. I'd have to actually look at the credit card to see what it is.
Okay.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Meredith, you can't get away with anything, you know?
All right.
Notice that the increase here of 25% plus.
Yes, changes in the other one. Well, no,
Right,
yeah.
it should be offset a bit down below because this reflects the change to have Zach
Right.
be all 100% of it.
Right.
Well, it should be offset 100% in that particular line, correct?
Right.
In the
We'll
labor
see.
line, yeah.
Wait, why wouldn't it be?
Well, let's find out.
So,
That's going away, that part-time? That part-time labor or no? That's Zach's or no?
no.
No, that's adding
We'll
up.
have to check about
So,
The minus 28% is where that
Yes,
comes from.
but then look at number 57. That's a new addition.
you can't take away and then put it back in.
Well, apparently they
Yeah.
so,
All right, Taylor.
So pulling Zach from the hub, so the way we've been doing it for this past couple months is Zach is only at the hub for 10 hours a week, if that much. And so I that doesn't really give enough time to support me in the back end things that I need. It kind of gives enough time to like see the kids, but I need someone to help do other programmatic things. So right now I'm really the only person. Like we have people, we have Zach and Jackie that are great at helping with drop-in hours, but right now I'm the only person running the back end. And that's good, but there's some things falling through the cracks. So having another person that can help me develop programming that is there budgeted, because Jackie is only budgeted through grants. So her job is not guaranteed at any point, and she knows that. And there's a bunch of reasons why that is the case that her and I have talked about a lot. But having someone where their labor is guaranteed through our budget, but they don't have benefits. Is really a 20-hour person,
20,000 divided by 520 hours.
Okay.
And so Zach's labor was coming out of full-time labor because he was a full-time employee, even though it was split between the rec department and the hub, and then we had all of his benefits.
So, Taylor, I just did the quick, you said 10 hours a week, it's 52 weeks, it's 520 hours. Divide that by 20,000, that's almost 38,000, or $38.50 an hour.
No, it's half that.
No,
because
it's like
scheduled for 20.
$18 an hour.
He's scheduled for 20 hours.
Right, I took 520 hours and divided by, is that for the 10 hours a week person or 20 hours a week person?
This is for 20 hours a week person. Zach's was 10 hours, so we're pulling him because he wasn't doing what he did, but the rec.
Okay, I thought you were replacing
Zach's
10 hours.
No, where that's gone. That's in the rec department. They need him for 40 hours and can use him for 40 hours, whereas I can't really use him. It's not super useful for me to have him for 10 hours, but it's more useful for Meredith to have him for 40 hours.
So you had Zach for 10 and you had another person for 10. Is that what you're saying?
No, I want Zach for none, and I want just one person for 20.
What do you presently have? You, full-time?
Currently, right now, we have full-time, I have Zach for 10 hours. And me.
And Jackie, but Jackie is there.
Jackie's through grants. So we have someone who's like there specifically to develop like work during, support during drop-in hours, like hanging out with the kids, or like that grant supported.
So basically another 10-hour position, maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to get clear here.
Another 20-hour position.
Because we're not losing him.
That's
We're
right.
just moving him.
I know we're moving Zach.
Zach disappears from this, where he had 10 hours.
And Jackie will be
Taylor-
done once the grant is done.
That's right, unless we can get more further grants. And then Taylor's asking for a 20-hour a week.
20-hour week position.
Correct.
Person.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
right.
what that new 20,000.
And it'll be tried to be paid for with a grant, but if not, it's budgeted for the taxpayers.
No, I don't think she's
She
asking for a
hasn't,
grant.
no, I think that's the question mark, is what do we do with this? It's not gonna be a grant, it would be taxpayer.
Yes, it would be
It's
taking the
new
place of the taxpayer money that was alternatively allocated that we pulled, because.
And then, because if you got the grant, that would put you at 40 hours. It couldn't be the same person.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not interested in, I don't need another 40-hour person. I don't need another 40-hour person.
But Jackie's there more than 10 hours?
Yes, Jackie's there for 20 hours. And
she's getting paid for
Via a grant.
via grant.
Via grants, yes.
So are
her
we going
time
to,
only guaranteed through grants.
right, so are we going to have two 40-hour week positions?
No, they're looking to add a different person.
Right, but they're still 40 hours, a 20 and a 20.
Correct.
No.
Correct. Yes, two 20-hour positions.
Yeah.
Plus
It's
her
not,
at 40.
it can't be done at 40.
Right.
It can't be one person, because they both gotta be there at the same time.
But I don't want one person at 40 hours. I have no interest in that.
But, so we're replacing Zach for 10 hours more. We did have a 30-hour week position, now we got a 40-hour week position.
Zach was 40 hours. He was just 20 hours with the rec department and 20 hours.
I know where he was, so he was 20 at the rec or 10?
He was supposed to be 20, but he's only working 10 because Meredith had so much work for him.
Okay.
Now Meredith has 40 hours worth of work for him, and she needs a person for 20 hours. The 20 he was
So
originally.
the 20 hours was is Zach's position. You're not,
Yes.
I'm asking if you were increasing the staff there. That's what
You are, because Zach is gone full-time.
I know he's
no
gone,
longer-
but you're
Right.
increasing.
No.
It'll be the same number of people that she's had at the hub.
All right, that
I'm
was,
trying to keep it stable. My goal is
What's that?
keeping it stable.
I didn't hear you, Taylor.
My goal is keeping it stable, not adding someone for hours that never existed. It's just keeping what it was. And
Yeah.
So we're not really reducing anything, we're
No, we're actually adding.
adding,
Yes.
We're not adding,
Yeah,
because
we are.
Zach was originally 20 hours, but now his full 20 hours has moved.
Yeah, but we're
So
adding
adding-
to
they were
the
adding
rec
20
club
hours to
budget
the rec
because he's
department,
now
yeah,
full-time.
yeah.
Right.
Rec department.
Yes, we are adding to the budget, correct.
Because this is a popular place.
Right.
Apparently,
Okay, all right. No, I
Yeah.
just saw that and earlier we said that Zach was doing 10 hours. I was sitting there going,
He
okay.
was, yes.
Okay,
Right, yeah, his hours.
He's
got
supposed to have been doing 20,
changed
but he
along
could
the-
only do 10 for you. Okay,
Right, because Meredith needed
Because
it.
Meredith was stealing him and she's the
Stealing him.
boss.
I was stealing them.
you overruled her.
all right, so let's go down. Anything that anyone sees here?
well, all these minuses are gonna change if you add that person, well, no, not if they're, some of it'll change.
Some of it, yeah,
Yes,
like I did
The health
not,
insurance won't change.
Yeah.
Right, the FICA
Okay.
and the workers' comp and well, not the disability, but, so some of them will change a little bit.
some of them will change.
So.
If you budgeted that number, they should already be changed.
It's in
Yeah, but
yellow.
they're tied to a
scissors.
formula. This number's not tied to anything,
Oh, okay,
Oh,
except this number right there.
okay, gotcha.
Obviously, so some big jumps in supplies and food.
Is that because you don't have the grants anymore?
No, I still have the grants and I can adjust them. I've been talking to, Sharon and Chris, we were kind of talking about the food line. And I still have the grants and that's what we've been doing, but, I was given the advice of like, well, no, like budget for how much you actually spend on food. And then the select board will say if that's okay or not. So this is how much we actually spent on food. You guys can tell me if you want me to pull that, reduce that number and allocate it. And just, in thinking about sustainability for the program. So you guys know, we had around 300 visitors at the hub last year, for a little over 4,000 visits, which is high for us. Like we haven't had a high, like that's high, the highest we've ever seen.
But aren't we getting reimbursed for some of the ELP?
That number is not reflected there. I already subtracted that from that. Yeah, that's how much we spent, spread throughout, the different grants, but you guys can tell me that, it is too much.
No, I mean, I get showing what you actually spend, because if we don't ever have a grant, that money's gonna have to come out of the budget. But how does that work? If she gets money for a grant, does that get reimbursed back into the budget? Or do you just not
It ends
spend
up-
that line item?
It ends up undesignated funds.
Right.
Yeah,
Honest.
I just, whatever you guys want, I can just not spend the line item. I don't know if I can reimburse into the grant. Typically, I can't not reimburse money, that's already spent, but like, I mean, I would
You
just.
need to get a better microphone.
Yeah. You're breaking.
Taylor, I don't mean like reimburse officially. I mean, you're just gonna spend the grant funds and not spend this line item, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Taylor, back to the full-time 56, line 56. We budgeted last year 68,270 because that was 20 hours with Zach. And I realized he wasn't giving you all 20. So should we change that from 49,004 to 69,004 and do the yellow away? And then that'll reflect those numbers I'm trying
Well,
to
no,
see.
because that's not a full-time employee.
We don't want it
It's a
reflected under
part-time
full-time.
labor.
Well, why was it?
Because he was split. He was a full-time employee, half of his wages were through there and the other half.
Could we at least put it there to see what the numbers are gonna be under workers' comp and retirement and all that, or
That
not?
would
No,
tie it,
that's only for
That's all.
full-time.
That's only for full-time.
Insurance,
Yeah.
it'll tie
Yeah, you're right.
insurance and
Yeah.
everything.
different.
Part-time, they don't get anything.
I mean, you still have to pay FICA and Medicare,
No,
but,
not the
Right.
other.
yeah.
Right.
It's close,
Okay.
Workers' comp, yeah, it'll be close.
within 100,000.
but, okay, you spent that much in food, and I'm like the tally there. So under revenue, does it show a grant or no?
We don't
You
show.
don't show
grants in
grants
our
on
revenue.
grants.
I mean, I have my revenue, for 2023, I don't remember how much, or 2022, I think I brought in, I don't know, probably brought in around $25,000 in grants.
How much? much?
$25,000
25.
in grants. If we get, I get a lot of grants.
I mean, I think if we could do a 3 or 5 year backwards comparison, the amount of grants we got, we could take an average and put it, it's revenue we're getting.
But it's not guaranteed.
It's not
It's not
guaranteed.
guaranteed,
Right.
right, I mean, it
Well,
can go away.
taxes aren't guaranteed, but we tax them.
Yeah, they
Very
were,
much.
in their report, the grant summary, they have a hub, got 4 grants last year. 3 were just the hub, 1 was the hub in the rec department. Or sorry, this is 2023. This is the new report that I'm working on. So there was United Way of Addison County, Vermont Community Foundation, Vermont After School, and the Children's Trust Fund. Those are all hub-based ones. The trust fund was hub and rec department of various amounts: 12,500, 2,000, 7,500, 4,500. But I think, I mean, so we do our budget, and as we go along, and as tax bills go out during the year, that's it's not based on the budget that we've created, because the budget's always, it's an estimate, right?
The taxes are based on this,
The budget.
next year's taxes will be based on the budget we
So-
present.
And so so I guess the changes are made and it becomes the unassigned funds
At the end
when
of the year.
things, so if she's assigning 3,900 and she spends 1,000 of that because the rest was done by grants, that rest is now unassigned. I see, okay. It doesn't
And that,
fluctuate
you know,
and adjust throughout the year.
And that
Okay.
may be the way we fund our reasoning for funding the equipment,
Yeah,
Mhm. It's the number of grants that they write.
is the grants say, right, they wrote X amount of grants, therefore we have
yeah.
money, that unexpended money, and we're gonna put it towards the equipment.
capital vehicle.
Okay.
And just to also clarify that the individual line items are less important than the bottom lines.
Yeah.
Because an underrun on one line might
That's right,
offset an
yes.
overrun on another
Mhm.
line. So what you really want is the bottom line.
What you really want is to stay right on budget on each line, not
True.
not do that.
But it-
Well, okay, so let's scroll down a little bit here.
So I'm curious about the heat. It went down $1,000.
Well, yeah,
New system in.
2022, 23 was 912.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
And then we're at 526 now, and maybe we'll be at around 1,000.
Okay. Did they get it insulated or something?
Right. Are you wearing thicker coats in that?
Right,
boat?
what's happening there?
So I think the new system, which predates me, but one of the things that we,
Yes, the new furnace, helps a
I
lot.
forgot about
Okay.
that.
We
Thank
went
you.
from oil to propane.
yeah, it does predate me, but one of the things that did shift is just kind of the way we heat the building. My predecessor, he would turn the heat completely off at the end of the night and then turn it on, which I don't think was very efficient, whereas we reduce it down to like 60, and so heat maintains a specific heat, and then we kick it back up, and so.
Okay.
And she just has more bodies in there.
Yeah.
We have a
Once
lot,
the kids are there, it warms up.
25 kids a day, like it's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And we think, I don't know, it's like, I think electricity is more, we're baking a lot, so.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true. Okay,
that's because they keep upping their price.
Yeah, another price increase this month.
all right. So, yeah, so we're at minus 6.1, at least for now.
For that, for that portion.
Yeah,
That portion of the department.
And the rent to the hub is going up, it looks like substantially. The rent to the rec club.
Are they, I don't think they asked to,
I haven't seen
No,
No.
no, that's
They
not,
shouldn't
that's
be
trash.
asking.
Oh,
That
I'm
went
down.
up. Trash went up
Okay, sorry, I was on the wrong line.
by $100.
you're scaring the.
No, well, I was
department
looking at
heads.
66.7%.
Oh, yes.
But that's,
Well, it's supplies.
That's
that's supplies.
supplies.
Sorry, I told you I was on the wrong line.
Still on the wrong line,
I'm
right?
still on the wrong line.
It's whatever line Val is on, like, is that the one I'm
Sorry,
highlighting?
no,
Oh, no,
I'm
I'm
on
just
it,
looking at
yeah.
this.
So that's everything but not but food, right?
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm
you got
That increases
yeah.
everything but
Look at
food,
that.
on the website.
Taylor?
What?
That increase for the supplies?
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything above and beyond food, okay.
Okay,
and
All
then
right.
something to note before we move on is, so, recently, I don't know if Jill is still on here, but no, she's popped off, but, recently they're figuring out something over at the rec field, Joel is over there, and the topic came off around like, or water expenses, so we have to talk to the rec club, because we think that someone's getting double charged for water. In our lease to the rec club, it says the rec club will pay for water, but we're still paying water. So we don't know if the lease needs to be updated or someone needs to stop paying or who's
I don't know
paying.
what lease she's looking at.
I don't know that that's correct, because we've been paying for water since
You
I was
shouldn't
in
have.
that seat.
You shouldn't.
Joel brought this to our attention at a recent meeting, that there's a
Right.
master meter out
By
on
the road.
West Street that includes that water allocation, so
Been
it
double
has
billed.
been paid twice.
Yeah, the
Another,
rec club should be getting a credit for whatever we spend at the hub.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll still have, so we'll figure that out, but
You still have water.
So it's-
So how long have they been double billed?
Since
Just
day
once?
one.
since day one.
Yeah,
Oh my
pretty
God.
much.
I've been back, Sharon sent me information 5 years, it's over $900 that.
So-
billed.
essentially
That we've been Or they've been
Right.
billed.
We've been billed.
the hub needs a water line budget.
Still,
Water
has-
budget.
it's always had a water line.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say, it's always had a water.
Till further
But
notice.
but it says,
So
in the
they
note,
go
it says
away.
potentially no water expense, but that's actually
No,
not true.
that's not
That's
true.
not
Okay, let's take that out.
So the rec department is paying, the rec club is paying as well?
Yes.
Correct, right now. So we shut the
So
water
Because it's
off.
always been under the impression that it was two separate meters, not a master meter and a.
There is two separate meters,
Yeah.
but one of them
Yeah.
is out by the
A
road.
Master meter, yeah.
The-
So they
the
should
one-
only be reading the master meter and then giving a credit for
Go in and
whatever.
read the hub.
Hub and
and
get
And
a
give
credit.
them a credit for
however
what the
Their
hub
credits.
is, yeah.
Right now, the
But is
hub.
this the way that we can increase our water line, revenue
No.
by double reading?
Yeah.
How many double
Everybody's-
readings
yeah.
can we do?
All the
I mean,
master
wait a
meters.
minute.
And I wouldn't have found it out until we got a large bill, June. May.
Yeah.
The
There's a
rec
large,
club.
we have a leak somewhere,
Ah,
and now it's gone down since we shut the water off to the grandstand and the
interesting.
north of the hub. Everything's
Yeah.
been shut
Ah,
off.
okay, okay,
So
good.
you gotta find it. It might be in the bubbler, but the bubbler is now on, the rec club's been paying for the bubbler.
Rec club or rec department?
Rec club.
Rec club.
Club's good.
Because
Yeah, and
that's
that was,
before the-
and that was in partnership with the rec club.
Right.
That was always to be.
We don't know where the leak is yet.
I see, okay.
Okay.
Butler
Next.
has so much,
Yeah.
for the one I put in
Who?
did.
That does?
So considering
bubbler
the
has
increase
that.
in insurance and all of that, that's not a bad budget.
No,
And the additional $20,000.
Well, was
Yeah.
that 20,000 included in the total bottom line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, because
didn't-
it was an addition.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if it was included, if it was
Right.
included in the formula.
That's not,
That's all, I just wanted to make
not
sure
a
it was
bad
included
increase
in the
at all.
are we
formula.
sure it is?
There it is.
Yep.
Okay,
Did
good.
I see 10.9 is supported by taxes?
And that's, we haven't touched on Pottery Studio yet,
Okay,
but yeah.
have you changed the, number 81?
Working on it.
Can be accurate. Let's see, so supplies are going up, obviously more people
More classes,
attending.
yeah.
Kiln's going up, using that kiln more, heat's going up, okay. Our
Our
labor,
rent-
Where,
Yep, and our rent went up,
Where-
but we're locked in for 3 years. That's
okay,
Okay.
that's nice.
where are we at as far as, how close are we revenue wise?
Breaking
27,
even.
what's the revenue, Ian?
That was 17.
Here,
well, yeah.
So 10?
17. That's way closer than it's.
It's way closer than it's ever been.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And the
I mean,
labor,
I know that when Darla was doing it, there was a lot of conversation about we're losing a lot of money and.
I'm glad to see that party too.
And Darla's comment was, we're providing a service that you're not gonna get elsewhere.
It was sort of, we treated it like a loss leader, you know,
Yeah.
like
it's one of those things.
diapers are on
But
sale,
that's
but
great,
formula
it's
costs
great.
this much.
Matt-
you know?
Matlock's still,
Stepping up.
yeah,
Stepped up.
and she's still interested in the 3%, okay, so that's for the
Yeah, I
labor
mean,
line.
if that is the, yeah, if, I understand that 3% is 420. I did give her a 3.6.
Okay.
Good.
And she's enjoying what she's doing?
Yeah, I get nervous that she wants to retire.
Yeah.
So I tell her she can't.
Okay. Well, that's all
Good
set.
attitude to take.
That's perfect.
I like that.
That's funny.
No, you can't.
That'll give Ian something else to do.
Yeah.
You go teach
Teach
pottery.
pottery classes.
We've signed Max up, so we'll see how he does.
I know, I saw that. I saw Max is gonna join us.
Yeah.
My granddaughter I was picking her up from school until I forgot the last time.
You're not working, how can you
And
forget?
you haven't
No,
seen your
this was-
granddaughter since.
This was back
Oh.
this fall.
It happens.
Mm.
It's like forgetting your own kid.
Oh, man.
I left mine at the Mary Johnson one night. They called, you go and pick up Megan. I got home, Star goes, where's Megan? I go, oh, crap, I'll be right back. I gotta go to school.
Ernie used to work third shift and when
I
it was
dropped her
after
off at a
kindergarten,
friend's, but I'll be right
he
back.
started picking up the kids all the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, total expenditures at 10.9.
all right. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
More to come.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be circling back on this, if not, I don't know how far we'll be able to get at the next meeting, but definitely on the 22nd, we'll have a better picture of the big picture.
Okay,
Right.
next. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Bruce, you're up. Oh, this lovely waiting. Come on up.
Come on down.
I can sit here.
Oh, yeah. You could, but come on up here.
Come on up and be with us.
Sorry.
Kind of get his
Oh,
own
yeah.
chair.
Gonna be
Chair's hard back there.
They are.
No doubt.
Oh, tall chair. It's,
Okay. Let's go through your revenues.
So just to let you know, we haven't had a chance to talk about any of this stuff together.
that's your out. That's your.
So it's a surprise.
Gonna wing. And I don't remember why I highlighted those two things, but there they are.
Okay.
Boy, that 200% looks big until you go back and look at the actual number.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take a lot of stock in that.
Yeah,
It went up $280.
wanna make sure you have
The town traffic one went up a little bit, MASD. Okay.
Is that confirmed, MAUSD contract?
Cops grant, we still have that.
Is that covering, is that contract close to covering the time? I know you were spending a lot of time there at one point.
At what, at the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely improved on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the cops grant, does that run out?
It does.
Yeah, we've only got a couple more years and
regardless of whether the position's been filled?
regardless, yeah, we only have so much time.
Yeah.
We've been getting more interest now that the
So we haven't.
salary is increased.
So we haven't
But
filled
we
that
haven't,
position
not
yet.
yet.
We haven't nailed somebody down yet
For what?
to fill that position.
The fourth officer.
The fourth
the fourth
position.
position.
The fourth position.
But you can't get some young kid interested, you know?
I've been trying, if we can find somebody that is from the area that wants to stay here, it would be a huge advantage.
You're getting a dog officer, great.
Yeah.
Anybody want to apply?
Right, what can you get first, a dog officer or a full-time officer?
I think we'll get a community resource
Resource
specialist.
officer
Yes, there we
first.
go.
Before we get anything.
Yeah.
But
Well,
That's
that'll
good,
help.
yeah.
it will.
Okay.
And, well, okay, then, part of your presentation, what was it, 2 weeks ago or last week? Kind of all run together here now. When you that the new person would be covered the first year under the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
And then,
But it's not his
But
budget.
it's not in this budget.
no, I realize
Right.
that, but wasn't that part of that job description, that new person coming out gonna be dog officer?
Yeah,
No,
Yeah, but
not officer,
Dog person?
they would assist in,
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get to, do you
Yeah.
need all that? That's why I'm just asking.
yes. Unless you want to find somebody else to do it.
No, but that was what you presented, was they're gonna do the dog.
And they would assist us with non-criminal, they're only working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And there are other things that will be probably higher priority.
Right, no, I
But
agree.
they would be able to assist with
Yeah.
anything that's non-criminal in nature. I would rather not do the dog stuff at all,
Yeah.
but.
Neither does anybody else.
Exactly, and, we do
Everybody
spend a
gets
lot of
it.
time.
Right.
And recently, we've been getting calls about horses, so, because we are the animal control.
My horses have not been out yet
Not
this
yours.
fall, this spring.
We're not gonna see a line for a horse officer.
No,
For
no,
stable.
we're not, but I mean,
No, but if enough of them get out, maybe
Right,
we won't need to buy another cruiser, we just take a horse.
We
I
just
mean, I
have
guess my
bike
point, could it
officers.
be level funded, because you're hoping that new person's gonna take on at least some of it.
I don't think the new person would be, they wouldn't be going out and like taking someone's dog from them. They would help with that sort of emotional support for that.
or if there was, they could handle some of this stuff for us.
Right, but not.
But it's not the physical
No.
dog officer portion of it.
No.
That was my understanding of your
Yeah.
request.
All right,
And here again, that 0 for actual for now is
yeah.
just not coded correctly, or?
No. I don't know how you transfer it over or when you transfer it. I discussed it previously and nothing changed. I'm hoping that now Sharon has been very, very helpful, that working with her, it will.
Okay.
So,
You gotta grease the right wheel.
So you're coding.
You keep praising her and it might
Oh,
happen.
you're not?
no. So what happened previously is the previous person that was taking care of those would move the funds. Some of it they were doing monthly, some of it they were doing quarterly. So we had a discussion, and then there's been some changes made, but nothing changed because we haven't had a chance to sit down and go over all of it yet.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that,
We're lacking
look at our
personnel.
fines, we know that there's more in fines. It shows 385, so I've had to go back and find all the reports that we've previously presented, present them again, and they just have to find time to try to update this stuff.
Yeah, this is really difficult for anybody to create a budget when you don't know where your numbers are. And
You
you're
think that fine
duplicating your
number is-
work.
Right.
The fine number that says 385,
We definitely have that.
there's more than that. But I don't know what the exact number is. I have all of it. We do monthly reports for that, and they just weren't added in there.
Where does the money go?
Some of it goes into the police district fund, the other goes into the town fund, because we do patrols in both
Right.
areas.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, expenditures?
So when you say, wait a minute, 4.6 total revenue, it could be 6.6 or 2.6 if we put the fines in there. That's
Well,
what I'm
no,
trying to
this
say.
is,
Well,
this
I
is based
put
on the
in-
budget.
Right, I
Yeah.
put in what I think the fine should be,
Yeah.
but if you look at the actuals, that number is not accurate.
Yeah, and that proposed for 2024, the percentage is based on the budget for 2022, 2023, 2024, not the
Yeah,
So I
actuals.
left it the same.
Do we think the 2022-23 of $2,830?
That's not accurate.
I mean,
Yeah.
we budgeted 7, thought you take in 7, and we moved it to 11. If I looked at that as a taxpayer, I'd say, you're not even going,
What's the, off the top of your head, what's the average ticket?
There's
Is that
no
$100?
average.
Minimum.
Well, if you got a ticket for 10 over, it's a $100 fine, but only $37 would come to the town.
Okay.
I don't focus on fines. That's
Well, no,
I
I
don't
was
mean
just
that.
trying to,
I don't mean
I was
that.
just trying to get an idea,
Yeah.
of, you know, if you wrote.
Yeah.
If you-
300 tickets, how much would
Right.
be?
Right,
Right, yeah.
Okay.
so at $30 a ticket, 10 tickets is $300. That's all I was
Okay,
trying to,
yeah.
I know you get nervous when I start. My mind works different. I'm sure you've realized that.
A long time ago.
Salaries are all based on
The contract.
Contract, yeah.
I have
Is
to
there
ask-
anything, is there any thing that you're recommending other than what the contracted raises were?
It's negotiated, so.
Okay, well, I know in the past, we've done adjustments, and we can adjust up, we just can't adjust down. So you're happy with where those numbers are?
No, I'd like to see them higher, but I also recognize that to get there, we should take steps to get there. We are getting
I
better.
almost gave him a heart attack with this last contract.
I know. So we're starting to see more people inquire about our position because the pay has increased, but we're still lower than most other places.
The
we're-
part-time officers, are they included under the union?
No, they're not.
No.
Okay.
So the 8.9, that wasn't a negotiation, somebody will ask, wasn't the contractor agreed on, was it, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that number he's got in there is based on the contract and what their percent increase is or percent step
This
is.
is with the percent increase that they negotiated for, 6.6% increase. So the spreadsheet that Valerie created a few years ago, we used numbers from a couple of years ago that people actually worked. And we kind of upgrade from that, but that can fluctuate a little bit because the person that did 2 years ago might not did as much overtime this year.
Right.
But we use that as kind of a guide to come up with a number.
You know, the detail hours, the night shift and the weekend shift stuff.
Right, you got all that
Trying to-
shift differential stuff.
Trying to forecast the overtime.
So that's all in the salaries, it's not a
Right.
separate line anymore. I know
Well,
before.
There is,
Well, there is down here.
down there,
The overtime is
the
shift
overtime.
differential at 17.9.
But those numbers come from these formulas in this spreadsheet.
So so the proposed, or the budget we were in right now, 265,884,
Mhm.
why wasn't this put to that 6.6 instead of 8.9?
It is, the 265 one was last year when they had a bigger increase.
Yeah, there were other adjustments mid-year, step differences.
Yeah, so,
We gave extra money above
That
and
we're still
beyond,
spending on, or
above and beyond the contract, yes.
above and beyond the 265 that we budgeted?
no, we haven't gone over 265. So last year's budget numbers were based on what the negotiated raise increase was, and it was
Mhm.
higher than 6.6%.
Okay.
We gave additional money when we were budgeting.
Okay.
That's why I asked him if he wanted it, if he had recommendations for
Gave
additional
additional
money.
money for the
this year.
salaries last
We
year.
did not do,
No.
we didn't do additional for what was negotiated.
Right.
We just
The only one
changed the
that
step.
you added 2% to was mine.
Right.
Because I said, the year before, I got a little bit more than
Right.
the police
Gotcha.
officers did. So I wanted to keep my percent increase the same as theirs.
Mm.
So then last year, I reduced mine to a lower percent increase, and you added 2% to it.
Sneaky.
Nerdy,
I'd like to say I'm sorry. about
It's so
that.
annoying when you do that.
No, I'm just trying to,
I know.
I think being, my outlook on it, I got the same percent increase that they got.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
I'm sitting out in the audience on Monday in March town meeting, and they ask at the 6 o'clock meeting, so if I was a taxpayer here in town, in the village, it said, so everybody got an 8.9% raise?
No, everybody did not get an 8.9% increase. I don't know how the percent increase numbers change like that.
Yeah, it just divides last to this year.
It's a difference in,
Okay. But we need 289,500
Well, if you add that money to the salaries, it's probably, and then the difference between the two whole numbers is probably different than the 6.9 because the numbers are different. What you make is more than what I make, and what I make is more than what Ian makes. But when you take those numbers across the board, it's not 6.9.
Plus the fourth position is included in there.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it's not expended, then some of that actually comes back. So in 2022, at the end of 2022, there was 52,000 of
Assigned.
unassigned or whatever the
Assigned.
term they're using. We used 20,000 this budget that we're currently in. So I was
Offset.
proposing that we do an additional 15 or 20,000 because there's money there. So I think the taxpayers deserve it.
Use
To
that
help offset,
15
yeah, this
to
year,
do what?
to offset.
Oh, offset.
You know, like, scroll to the revenues above.
Yeah, it's in there. We put that in there
Yeah.
last year.
So last year we put 20. This year I'm saying 15. I would even say
Okay,
go 20, because there's, out of the 52, you take 20, there's still 32.
Yeah, but what? You need a new building.
I know, but I
I get it, but
I'm
at
glad
some
you're
point, they're
thinking
gonna
that
get,
way, yeah.
pay me now, pay me later.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is, when
When that money runs
when the
out.
money runs out for the cops grant, we're gonna have to make that up. I'd rather take that money and put in a fund.
We
so that
still
pay the
have-
same amount.
so before we got the 52,000, we had 156,000
In the capital building?
unassigned. Is it
Yeah, we need to
unassigned or?
create it.
It's
unassigned?
It's unassigned.
Unassigned.
Yes,
Unassigned.
unassigned.
They changed the wording on me.
Yeah.
I'll still say undesignated, but
Bruce, can you apply for that COPS grant again, even though you've had it for the last couple of years?
We could try.
Okay, well, yeah, I didn't know if there was, some grants will say you can't apply if you just received it, so I wasn't sure.
Well, we didn't just receive it. It was 3 years ago.
Well, right, but if you received it in X amount of years, sometimes you can't reapply. But I'm just wondering if
Can we
that's.
go back down to the
No,
expenses?
I think
though?
they would take into consideration if you received one when they're doling out, or, when they're trying to designate who gets it or
Right.
award who gets it.
Right,
So your part-time labor, because we don't have that fourth officer, I'm assuming that's why you're putting that up. You still
We
need your
use,
part-time.
we use the
people.
numbers from last year
Mhm.
for the amount of hours that part-timers worked.
Okay.
If we get a fourth officer, though, will that
So if we
change?
get a fourth officer, that should
Change.
reduce the
Okay.
amount of time that
Mhm.
overtime
Yeah.
or part-time.
Part-time labor, okay.
or a little of both.
Yeah.
Did you change the
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
childcare?
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did already. Right.
You already asked
So
me.
our
Right,
health
on it.
insurance
No, you already asked
went
her.
up because we had officers that were doing the buyout are now getting
Health insurance.
And we don't know if the fourth position, if the person, so we
Budget.
budgeted
Budgeted
for
for
a full.
Well, you might as well.
Yeah,
Right. Got to.
excuse me, not full family.
Family.
Right.
Family plan, yeah.
So the
Well, that's
highest
good, your
rate.
workers' comp went down.
Well, we,
We had a few previous officers get hurt.
yeah.
Well, I know,
We're
but
at
that's
our-
what I'm
we
saying,
must
our
be at our-
injuries have gone down,
We
so
must
our-
be at our 3-year.
Right, or
Here.
whatever you wanna call it, yeah.
Those insurance amounts, I have no idea where those come from.
Yeah,
I mean,
VLCT.
VLCT, right,
Yeah.
they're the ones
They're-
that calculate it.
Valerie's
I
a
know.
wizard and she just
Yeah.
pulls it.
Okay, you're. Okay. Well, I was just looking, you're at 8,200 budgeted, you didn't put much in there, but you spent 56 on your computer supplies line before, 5,300.
So the computer supplies, some of these descriptions, computer supplies, what we're using that is for those software
Software
subscriptions.
support.
so,
So
Some of
again, you need to
these-
change that name.
Previously, they also had, I think, trying to remember, we took out of it, so we moved it somewhere else.
You did the office supplies and the general supplies
Right.
for sure.
And we were, we switched or we changed these cameras, so we don't have that yearly
Oh, yeah.
Charge.
fee for cloud storage.
Yeah.
We have a server, so we do it all in-house. So some of that came off this year.
Oh, that's good.
So Ian, should that line 46 say computer supplies slash
It should just say
licensing
software.
I
or
would say
software?
Just change it to software,
software for now.
take
And I'll-
computer right out of
So
it.
if he needs to change a laptop or replace a laptop or a
Comes out
computer
of
over there.
Technology fund.
Techn-
Okay, that comes out of,
Or is it different?
So
Does yours come out of the technology fund, Bruce? when
No.
you bought- No, I was
This
gonna say, I
is-
don't think
we
it does.
do everything through
Because
this
that's
district.
town fund,
Yes.
not.
So the
So computer
the
slash
computer
software.
software, so like ADS support,
Yeah.
that's what we pay the state. They support our network system because it's law enforcement.
Right,
Our state emails come through there.
Yep.
And then our evidence program, we pay so much a year for support.
So what about that, your laptop? Does
those
that
are
come out of there?
probably equipment.
They don't have,
No, this, what do you mean, the?
When you have to buy
laptop?
it.
Your hardware, where does hardware come out?
We have the equipment, capital equipment.
Okay.
so you have a
we-
capital equipment cost and a capital vehicle, so that's where it
Yes,
comes out.
so
Like your
we,
guns and those
So you
types
need
of
to
things.
say
yeah,
computer
we
software.
plan on,
Yeah.
by the time these need to be replaced, there's enough money in that fund.
Okay.
We've got,
I
Yeah,
always
so
schedule.
you say it's $3,000
You're putting
goes in there.
3,000.
Yes, you put in
20,000 on the-
3,000 a year for that.
Vehicle, yeah.
And I tried to put into the notes what some of the stuff that we purchased, like,
yeah.
that says equipment, that's more probably equipment maintenance, like these, just about everything we have now has batteries to them.
Yeah.
And after a while, they don't hold a charge.
Yeah.
So
There you go,
we purchase things like that, or especially evidence recently, we found that we've very outdated on some of our evidence collections kits, so we
Okay.
replace that. Or something small that comes up that we need.
So the actual for this year and we're only 50% of the way through the budget, exceeds that quite a bit, and it did the previous year too.
Right.
So should that be increased?
No. No, some of it is small equipment that we needed that I'm not going to have to replace for quite some time.
Right.
It's just
Not
that they went
ongoing
so long
expenses.
on some of the, evidence is the biggest thing. For a palm print roller, it was like $250.
But
Just for
isn't that a capital equipment?
No, because it's,
Small.
I don't consider it because it's small and,
But it's not something, I
But
think
it-
it's not something you're gonna replace every year.
If it's something you replace every 5 years or every 10 years, just like we were talking with.
it shouldn't have to replace it until it becomes obsolete. And some of the small stuff.
So it is,
Recently has become obsolete that we've replaced that.
but that is a
does sound-
capital
yeah, that does sound-
equipment expense. It's not a annual
Yeah.
maintenance expense.
So if that's the case, we might have to add more money to his capital equipment reserve fund if he's gonna
Yes.
start using that for
Like you just
that
didn't,
type of stuff.
Well, I mean, there's $1,000 there that I would say he probably, if that one piece was $250, and you probably could find $1,000 worth of that. So that line would be where
Stay
it's
where it
supposed
is.
to be.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
right, because you got batteries
Okay.
for his cameras and things for the flashlights and things like that. Now, I know, did you report back a while back that you applied for a radio grant?
Mhm.
And the difference would come out of the capital equipment reserve, right? Or did that come out of radios? I think the radios would come out when, your radio supplier has to come down and tune the radios or work on them.
That's where I think the equipment,
Or
there
the
should be equipment maintenance. Now, that's the correct way. That's where we would use the equipment maintenance if somebody had to just update the software on it or,
That is me.
Yeah, that is.
right.
That is,
That's not,
Right.
that's not.
I'm
capital.
buying new radios.
Right.
So is $3,000 enough in the equipment reserve?
At the moment, it is.
Okay.
Okay. I changed that line 46 to just software. That's me as guest contributor.
Sweet.
All also I changed a lot of numbers, and let's see if we can find them.
And formulas.
So that's all the state software, I mean, the email software and the.
Yeah.
Evidence and all that,
They don't have any of the Dominion tech stuff.
No,
they don't have any.
we go through the state for our email and our support, because we're on a secure network that the state
Right, okay.
owns. That's why we go through it.
Mhm.
At some point, like when the previous database that we used, we were paying so much per user. The state wanted to switch to the one that we currently use, so we're not paying anything. They wanted people to switch, so they're paying for it initially. At some point, we still don't know when. It's probably a couple more years before
The
they'll
state
start.
is looking for money like crazy this year. So,
They're looking for money?
Oh,
Is that what
yeah.
you said?
Yeah, they say you don't really have to worry. Any bill that's in the legislature that has a number attached to it is probably not going anywhere this year.
Comforting.
Not really,
No.
not with the other increases.
Okay. Vehicle gas, oil, usual increases for that.
I don't know, if you think the gas rates are gonna stay the way they are, we can leave it at 8. I put
No,
in 9.
I don't.
Right? It's so hard to
Who knows,
estimate,
right?
right, a year and a half from now.
And you don't still have any advertising expense, everything's done online, it doesn't cost you
That's what we've
anything.
been doing.
Here's your facility, 55.
Yeah, I'm glad to see the property insurance went up.
Are you being sarcastic?
Who's in charge of that?
Yeah.
Well, it'll go up again if you buy that next vehicle too.
Okay.
Now, the next vehicle is in your budget.
No, no, is that it? Is that it?
That's the hope.
Yeah. 4.6, wow, that's much better than the 18 from last year, huh?
Yeah, considering a lot of things that are out of your control that have come
Yeah.
up. That's a pretty good budget there, mister.
Long sigh. You're just thinking back to the other percentage changes. Oh, right.
I
Let me
hate this
just,
time of year,
it's very difficult.
and this year's difficult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's
just
really
knowing where the education tax is going is,
The 23,960 for half the year for, if we think it's right, I don't know. Have
That should be accurate.
have they increased, do we have a contract that it's gonna go up to? That'd be about 47 or 48,000.
No, we have a do we do a
So we
3-year?
have a
Three-year.
three-year, we extended the lease for 3 years, and it went up to, or,
Could we go to 52 there instead of
There's
55?
an annual escalation.
no,
Yeah,
it's
got a-
it's
yeah,
going up.
Escalation.
Well, I think this past year was 2.6. Usually the highest the rent goes up is 3%
Mhm.
a year, just for the rent. It's the
Triple net.
triple net
Yeah.
that
Culinary
continues to
maintenance.
go up, yes, the taxes.
Okay, that's all in
portion of
there
it.
too.
Yeah.
So that's what's included with that rent.
Mhm.
And the,
So we,
so our, what it cost us to have the alarm there, alarm maintenance.
all that's in there
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
not just the
It's-
rent.
It's not just the rent.
Okay.
I can tell you.
So when we raise the taxes in Bristol, we're affecting our police department's
Yes,
rent.
yes, you are. It goes up.
Yeah.
Some of that is beyond our control.
Yeah, so the facility includes the rent, the triple net, the alarm maintenance, cleaning, annual cleaning.
Yeah.
And then the fire extinguishers that we have there, and some maintenance on the building, like replacing light bulbs, which we're responsible for.
so what was our estimated cost for the new police station? What
It
was it?
depends on which scenario you selected, if you recall.
The bigger or the smaller?
Right.
Smaller. Okay, go with the smaller then. What was the estimated
The
number?
one story or the two was the smaller?
Well, the one story was the smaller.
Yeah,
Yeah, offhand, I don't,
rough.
I don't.
I can't remember.
I'd have to
It's like
revise,
two and a
because
half,
I'd
it
have
could
to
be
look.
3.5, right? But, oh, yeah.
See if I can find it
Yeah.
on the, it would be online. Was it online?
I don't think we're
Yeah.
close to the bond payment, but we're getting closer.
Well, I just was figuring out how long it would take, because that's $500,000 every 10 years.
Mhm.
So, you know.
And in 10 years, that 55 will be.
Right,
Could
but
be 85.
I'm just, you know, that's $500,000, so if it was $2 million, you're looking at.
Yeah.
40 years. But then you own it,
Right.
But
at that 55.
if you even take the 55 and add 3% a year, where does it go like this?
Right.
But some of the costs that's in that 55, we would have in.
You have it
addition to
anyway,
Right,
correct. Take the
because,
rent.
right,
Maintenance
right.
and
The
things.
rent payment is, I think 23.
A year.
23.
No, a month, no, 2,300 and something a month.
Oh, wait, do 2,500, it's 30,000 a year.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, 32,000 is what sticks in my mind.
Yeah,
for-
that rings a bell.
So right now, currently, we pay for rent $3,112.55 a month.
33,000.
Well, no, we actually pay 36,62.24. The 31,12 is before the triple net.
Right, correct.
36.
That's what we were looking
Right,
for.
46 up?
Yeah, 36,62.24.
But the triple net cost would be some of the costs that
We
we
would have
have to
anyway,
pay
right.
anyway.
Right.
I was just looking at just the
Right.
rent.
So we're like
Yeah.
36,000.
Right.
30,
Yeah,
right,
about
between 36.
31,112 times 12.
About $44,000.
Is 37.
36 close rough
37.
numbers, yeah.
Mhm.
So we are not going to be prepared for this town meeting to have any item on the warning regarding townwide.
We have 2 elections in the fall.
Right, right. What was it, a couple months ago that I mentioned, I'm drawing a complete blank about it, putting a question on the warning related to this, what was that?
I think before the vote, you were going to ask to be able to present it, or
Australian ballot?
Australian ballot, yeah. You would have to warn that the year before you actually did the vote.
To have voters authorize voting on this topic by Australian ballot rather than the floor.
Correct.
So that was
should
the
we-
question.
Well, it would have to be voted on by Australian ballot, because we
Anyway.
don't, well, we do have a district meeting, but nobody shows up to that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, but there's
3
also-
people, you don't want 3 people deciding on a.
But it's also our
But-
merger document that says, you know,
Correct.
one has to,
Disband before the other.
Before the
Yeah,
other.
we
And
have
I think the
there's a
merger
process.
document did specify Australian ballot,
Mhm.
I think, I have to double check
Maybe
on
it
that.
did.
Okay,
So we probably at least want that question, if nothing else.
Yeah, if it's not specified in the merger document, we would want to be authorized by the voters to put that question out as an Australian ballot.
So our lease has only been extended for 3 more years. So I know if you're trying to decide if you're gonna build or something like that, it takes more than a year. And I don't think they would kick us out immediately, but if they sold the building,
Yeah.
that could change our rent.
Right.
Drastically.
well, that could be the
It's just,
superintendent's
That could
union.
could be.
I'm just surprised voters are, vote that one in.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's possible.
Well, thank you very much, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, if there's anything you have questions on that you think of later, just let me know.
Oh, we will. We know where to find you.
We have lots of questions. Nothing you can answer.
So, one question I have, and this kind of leads into the next agenda items regarding the warnings. I do not remember how it was dealt with last year in terms of Zoom hybrid. information meetings versus town meetings. How did that play out?
They can't vote, they can attend, but
Well,
they can't
But
vote.
there was a hybrid
Yes,
arrangement.
and Neat
Yeah.
handled that. They took
Yeah.
care of that completely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alright, so we'll follow the same pattern then?
Yeah, I can reach
presume?
out to them.
So,
Did they comment, Bruce? Did they use the chat? I can't remember.
They could comment, but they couldn't vote.
They could, that was the only difference. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think we had,
I feel like you and I had our computers on
yeah,
stage.
I don't think we had.
It was only 2 weeks after my
comments.
operation. I barely remember it. But I remember having my computer.
Jim wants to be on Twitter.
He loves the meeting so
He
much.
likes it.
I guys have 2 computers for
That's
this.
right.
Who is for the potential police building at behind the fire station? Who's the architect?
Cushman.
Cushman design.
Cushman
I
design.
couldn't, yeah, I just tried to find it really quickly. I couldn't.
I know, we need to find a better way to find stuff.
Okay, is there anything else we need to do with budgets?
Not at the moment.
Okay,
I don't think.
because it says
Right now,
other
I'm ready
sections
to go.
if available.
Yeah, it's 9:00, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
exactly.
we have
Yeah.
executive session.
That
And
sounds
We do.
and you don't need to be scrolling through my spreadsheet
No.
right now.
Okay. So item 4, review of preliminary draft town meeting and police district warnings.
So these were posted on the website this afternoon. Sharon did a great job of getting these started, and they follow the pattern from last year. So obviously, we'll need to fill in the budget numbers when they're available. The main question here is the schedule and the public info meetings.
Do we have to have an actual informational meeting?
We do for the police district.
Police district.
It
okay.
starts at 6, it said,
Yeah.
or 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I believe last year, or, let's see, the select board's regular meetings in February are the 12th and the 26th. So I presume,
That would be the 26th. And then with the
and then we have
following,
the special meeting just before town meeting, too, on the
Right.
Monday.
yeah,
So there's the
That's the
March
hoot and
4th.
holler, right?
March 4th.
Yeah, that's the hoot and holler night. All the articles we vote on.
So, what are you showing? Oh,
It's the cost of the police building.
oh, okay.
Figures, isn't it?
3.5, 2.5.
Yeah, so that's what it was. And we were gonna, tinker a little bit with that design, yeah.
Probably end up somewhere around 3.
mhm.
So the second information meeting happens, it precedes the town meeting, right? Typically?
Yes.
The
Right,
the
right
Monday.
before.
Yeah,
So
the
that
Monday
would be,
before.
so that would be March 4th.
Yeah.
And then the one in February
Could be the week before.
Yes.
would be
Yeah.
the 26th. Okay. All right. So that answers that. That's pretty quick. We'll finalize that when the budgets get squared away. This is the town meeting warning, and again, modeled after last year's.
It's not up if you're sharing it.
Oh, you're right.
Looks good.
Yeah. We approve.
Well, that was
That's great, we approve.
Thank you. There we go. And Sharon kept the same order of articles and just took out the ones that
Repeats.
weren't relevant for this
Mhm.
year at this point. One item that should be added, presuming, well, after the January 22nd public hearing, the select board's hearing, if things are ready to move forward for this town meeting to be voted on, we would want to add an article
The
this
regs.
morning to be voted by Australian ballot, shall the voters, blah, 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 approve. So that could go in this Article 3 slot.
Mhm.
What was there last year?
I don't know. It's in the town report.
Michelle,
Good thing I brought it with
One of
me.
them was for the Bristol Rescue Squad and being non-taxable. I can't remember what the other one, oh, the Lincoln School.
Mount Abe Unified.
Oh,
Overall,
right there.
and it was only good school.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And give them money.
So this is just an early check-in on the standard elements,
Okay.
the deadlines for taxes. There's always the Article 5 question about penalties. I think this is carried over from last year.
Mm-hmm.
4% is
It's the standard, nobody,
is what we,
what we have for the last couple of years.
yeah, we,
It was
Change.
8 when I started here, then it got
Gotcha.
dropped to 6, and now it's at 4.
That's only because we can do that because it's in-house.
Right.
no, that's.
No, we can only charge up to 8%.
No, but what I'm saying is that, you know,
We
if,
can,
No,
if we
it's-
had an external delinquent tax collector, they decide what they charge. The town doesn't decide that.
They only have up to 8%.
Right,
Right,
but I
up to
mean,
the
they
state.
can't adjust that down, the voters can't adjust that down to 4% if they.
If we
tax
have
collector.
somebody, yeah,
Right.
okay. General fund,
Yeah,
select board,
That ought to double. I'm sorry, I'll
Double,
say it
huh?
publicly. I don't wanna be like the Vermont legislature, I don't wanna raise their pay by about.
Well, now's an opportunity to visit that.
Oh, the board, the school board gets $1,000
what are they?
and the
gonna
chair
mean?
gets 1,500.
Ask Eric what they got up to
Just a
Starksburg, I think
flat
it's $1,000 or $1,500.
Well, I think they get a meeting pay too.
In addition to a meeting pay.
Mhm.
Hot dog.
right.
No, they're on
I'm
board.
heading to the school board.
Superintendent.
See you later, guys.
Sorry, you couldn't pay me enough.
No,
It's like,
definitely
it's
not.
like when I go to the Addison County Solid Waste meetings,
Okay,
Am I
paid to be
representing
on
the board?
school
Should I get
to be
board
on the
pay?
school board.
Yeah.
I don't ever ask for it, but
Do you wanna change those numbers in Article 7?
let me think about it. I would
Well,
really
I
like
did a
to,
It would be
poll.
nice if it came from the floor.
it would,
But it
It
won't
won't.
be unless somebody,
No, it would,
I mean,
what do you
any
get
one of
before,
us,
yep.
Unless, can you learn to
Any-
throw your voice?
Yeah.
I think it should be.
any one of us could make that motion.
That's true.
I mean, it's not that we
I
can't make a
thought
motion
Alan
up
was
there.
supposed to do it when he left and he didn't. Somebody was supposed to do it when they left.
You could just change it now and.
and then they can vote it down, it's,
They
switch
could
it to
vote
last
down,
year,
sure,
or
yeah.
vote it up, or leave it.
Yeah, they voted it down before, I remember,
Really?
from the floor. I feel like,
No,
maybe
no.
it was for the school board. When the elementary school had their own board. There was
I mean,
less-
I
they-
just,
they kept
you
it
know, the
same.
average, if you figured the average meeting was 3 hours, minimum wage would be $45.
Well, I know Sharon used to figure this out, and she figured out it was like 50 cents an hour or something like that, for getting paid at $500.
It's like coaching at the high school. I worked it out when.
How
when I
low
was
can we go?
coaching. I made 25 cents an hour.
I mean, it's not,
I mean, even,
it's not the idea that I'm
Yeah,
not here
That was
for
before
money, but
taxes.
well, no, we're not, if we were here for the money, none of us would be here.
Exactly.
I mean,
But,
but if you put it up to even $800, I mean, that's not a huge jump.
Should increase it to what other towns are doing.
And the
Well,
only-
they
I'll-
range,
if
but
you
I
want-
did do.
If you want, I'll
this.
call the
It's
5
like-
towns around us, the
Yeah.
4 towns around us. I'll call the 4 towns and bring it back next week.
I
I
don't
think
care.
you should
I did
call
that
it-
3 years ago.
I don't think that that's a fair assessment because we're twice the size of them.
Oh, okay.
And we meet
No,
every,
but still, a meeting is a meeting.
we
I
meet
agree.
twice, we meet twice a
I'll
month,
call,
and they meet.
I'll
a
call
month,
the
and
town of Middlebury and the city of Virgins also. I'll bring you 6 proposals.
Okay.
6,
I can send you what I did 3 years ago, 4 years ago,
okay, send it to me.
because I did call all the towns around us, the 5 towns around us,
Huh.
to find out
But
what
it
they would
should
get
be
paid.
based on the same size area, it's
Yeah.
the same.
It's
type.
hard
I mean,
because there's
when
no,
you're- When you're comparing things, it should be the
And
same
water and
size.
sewer.
I can tell you, they're, like Lincoln,
2-hour
they got
meeting in
paid more
Middlebury.
than we did, I mean, and they only meet like once a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
We
it
always
was
use, what is
amazing.
it, Brandon?
What was the
as a-
average?
I can use
Your-
Brandon
your
too.
I
stuff?
don't remember
7.
now, but I still have
We
it.
compare ourselves to
No,
Brandon for a lot
I
of
mean,
other things.
I think the highest I saw was $1,000,
Okay.
and, you know, the chair might have gotten more, and that might have been New Haven.
Okay, yeah, bring us
They'd
some.
be home by now in Middlebury. They 2-hour meetings, 6 to 8.
And they're done, if
Done.
they're, whether, no
Yeah,
matter
but if
what.
we did that, we're not gonna have a budget
Right, we're not gonna have anything
by
done.
the end of January.
Okay, do we need
All
to
right,
add anything else here?
not on that page. We need to make sure we put in the, capital fund for the rec.
Right,
For the
yeah,
equipment.
yep, I have, yeah, I wrote that down somewhere, we can stick that in somewhere.
Well, we don't need Article 10, but we want to, about changing the name, you just want to be able to transfer the funds.
Yeah, because we changed the name.
Last year we changed the name, so
Yeah.
where Article 10, you could put down for the rec, capital equipment.
Well, no, we just need to add an article. You're still
Yeah.
gonna put money into the capital building fund.
Yeah,
Right,
you don't want to
We
take that
just,
out.
we just don't need to change the name of it,
right.
that's all.
Okay, you're just gonna,
Yeah.
if we know what we got, if we know what we,
Assuming we know
we
what we
know got
have.
it, what we got in capital.
If we have any. The police department's got plenty of.
And the green
Can't touch
is,
that.
the green are numbers that are already known.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Do we have an article for the Australian ballot voting for appropriations?
No.
We should, I think we've talked about that previously.
we have. Let's see what on Valerie's notes on all of our things to do list.
Right.
Hmm.
So that would be, it would be an article for this year to be voted on to
Next
do
year.
it next year.
Right,
You have to
and
do it a year in advance.
so will voters agree or to vote on appropriations by Australian ballot?
Right.
Now, is this all of them, including capital, or is this just
Social service.
I think
social
social
service?
services, yeah.
Vote on social service appropriations.
Look, when we did that, it wasn't any different.
Yeah, it
We just
wasn't.
approved them all anyway.
Well, it happened during COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it still wasn't any, they still all passed overwhelmingly. There wasn't.
Yeah, but there were, you know, enough people who did vote no. Even if they did pass, there were still people who voted no.
Yeah.
We
They
have,
had their say.
yeah,
They had their say
Makes them
behind the
feel-
curtain.
in the town report, they're called civic organizations.
Civic.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But our policy calls them social services.
Need to change that.
That you have to do.
That's on our list.
Social
Yeah.
civic social.
Ian, put that on your to-do list, right?
Yeah.
That one that keeps getting longer.
Civic social.
Gotta stop doing that.
Continue personnel policy review and updates. Can you do consider? And other stuff. That'll go into other stuff.
Yeah. No, well, we talked about that though. I mean, I think it's the most democratic way of doing it. It allows you to
Yeah,
choose.
'cause I think there's a lot of people who are.
You know, the only thing
Afraid to
that,
get up and say
yeah,
no.
the other thing it does is it doesn't allow it to be changed from the floor.
True.
We've had them changed from the floor before. Anything we vote on the floor can be changed from the floor.
Including those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we've had them increased in the
But you know
past. and-
Yeah.
That's okay. If they want to give more money, they can write a check to them.
There you go. No, but I'm saying that is that they can be increased or
Yeah.
decreased from the floor.
Right.
And I think if the rescue squad feels like theirs isn't gonna pass, they're gonna reduce it, because it's from the floor, because they can. But if you do it Australian ballot, they can't.
Well, they can't change it. It's gotta go on the floor this year.
Right,
Right.
but that's what they wanted to do. They're asking for an increased amount, they're getting signatures. If it doesn't fly, then they're gonna move to lower it to see if the voters will pass it from the floor. But if you do Australian ballot, you don't have that option.
Don't worry.
It's good to have.
I mean, how much are they increasing it by?
From 15
Quite a
to
lot.
Not a
29.
lot.
Yeah.
10 grand.
Call that quite a
15
lot.
grand.
They just
Tell you
bought them
what
a
kind of
damn
Uber it pays.
ambulance.
Well, they
Or City
did
of Virginia.
based on
Oh,
what it would
yeah,
cost
and
to
I'm gonna buy a new
subscribe.
fire truck here.
For residents. for
Two.
The residents
Two,
in town.
yeah, I know.
I can tell you a lot about that
And
if
so,
you really wanna know.
and Sharon,
I didn't even know the vote was happening until the day before.
Yeah,
That's how much they advertised it.
Well,
Yes, Ian?
we've talked about this in the past in terms of the Australian ballot. You live in Virgins, and that's been Australian ballot for a long time for civic
Their
organizations.
appropriations have always been,
And you don't remember a time where an organization didn't get its budget.
not that I know of.
Okay.
But like you said, they have the option to say yes or no, so people feel like they're,
Had
At
to say.
least they have
They had
they
to
have to
say.
say,
Right.
they have to say.
But if enough people say no, that organization wouldn't
Doesn't
Right.
get it.
their
Yeah.
appropriation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Same as in the Hoot and Holler night, Monday night.
right, if someone, if it gets voted down.
But yeah, but I think it's different.
it's never
Far
happened, I've never,
fewer people and-
I don't like them when they group them all. But I know they wanna shorten the meeting up. Let's take too long. To me, put them on Australian ballot.
Kind of like Article 23.
Yep, yeah.
Well,
You
yeah,
don't like it grouped like that.
right, and
Well, we grouped them this way, we grouped them based on.
In town and out of town.
right,
Organizations.
I did that last year to try to sort of
When we do it,
differentiate.
we did it the year before too. You
I
see,
put
a
'em up,
couple
oh,
years
okay.
ago, we changed it because,
5-page ballot
No, I know.
was a bit much during COVID.
I mean, it does increase if doing the Australian ballot will increase our cost a little bit in terms
It
of
will,
printing and stuff
yeah.
like that, but it's just one of those things.
Costs money to make them ballots.
So that's pretty much.
So could,
we tell them they need to sign up to vote ahead of time, that way we don't print extra ballots.
so, you know, that works out. for you.
What was your question, John?
Can we have something on the morning to say, do you want the select board to look into the possibility of expanding the police district for a vote in March of 2025? And get a feel for the public. If it comes back,
I think you need more information
I think
Right,
we need
I
to-
don't
for
think
that.
they
It's a
can.
big,
I-
big question, and
I
I
think
think it
especially
can't be.
depending on what the budget number looks like, they're gonna
Yeah.
say no to anything.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the year to do that.
Yeah.
If we really want to
Or
support,
at least not March.
not, at least.
I'm
not
just
in
trying to
March.
set the,
No, because I think you need more information about it. I think that would just confuse a lot of people.
but we have to have a year before we're 2 years out at that, 3 years out from going townwide then, possibly.
Well, no,
For a
I mean,
budget.
we can put a vote, she's gonna put a,
Special town meeting or
Yeah.
special vote or.
Well, I'd like to do it in November then,
I'm looking up the merger document.
Well, we
'Cause
have- yeah, we
it's
have
gonna be
some
a
opportunities
presidential
in the fall.
election,
You'll get most.
we'll get a lot
Your
of people to
You'll get a
vote.
lot- You'll get the most of your voters, yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
I'd like to do it at least November,
November's primary, isn't it? Or is that?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
presidential primary.
Primary, yeah. To
Yeah.
ask
Well,
them,
it's the general election, the
General
primary's in March.
Yeah,
right.
primaries in August.
No, the presidential primary's in March.
This year,
State
24.
primary's in August, general election for president is in November.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
Well,
You better
so
be at least
can
one
we-
of them.
I am so excited.
Can we be ready by November to actually have people vote on that decision to go townwide?
or do you have to warn it?
I thought somebody said you had to warn it for a year.
No.
Depends on the merger document.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
I think that's,
which Val's hunting down now.
Right.
Okay, so depending on that. But I wonder if we have enough time to actually present something, given that it'd be the biggest turnout of of all
It'd
Bristol
be
voters.
the best representation.
Yeah,
right,
It
I'm
really would.
looking
yeah.
And you can't wait until November to have it.
Why?
Because if you do it local, it'll have to be by itself, so I have to have it at least 20 days prior for ballots. So that means I have to have it at least 30 or more days to do the tabulator. If we put it on the general election ballot, it has to be done by the middle of September at the latest. And I think it's actually more towards the beginning of September, but I'd have to look.
So August.
Yeah, like right after, I think last time it was right after
Labor
the
Day.
state primary, that if you wanted anything on the November ballot, you had to submit it.
Yeah, which isn't a lot of time.
No,
Well, I mean, there's still a number of months to craft our narrative about what's going on, figure out numbers, figure out what that might look like for the town.
And how to present it,
Yes, okay.
how to educate our community.
The numbers are easier than what you're looking for information. That's gonna take time.
Okay.
What is it that you want from us as far as stats?
Yeah.
Or information that the public would be interested in? But, you know,
To help them with
taking
the
a
voting
budget,
decision.
adding 2 or 3 positions and adding. you
Yeah.
know,
that's what's
so
more
that-
items.
Right, the budget is easier to do, but what information does the public need to hear from us as to the benefit and what they're going to get?
Yeah.
That's what I need, somebody
Right.
needs to tell me this is what we're looking for,
Yeah,
you know?
and that's part of
And
the conversation I'll have with you.
And I think that,
I think a panel
all that
discussion would be
information
really
I want
effective.
between
Oh, what?
November of
Discussion,
'24
an open meeting
and March of
discussion.
'26.
And if you'd want it so people have a chance to.
You know, what I
ask
would-
questions, review it.
I was thinking that if you had a number that said,
So you've got a format.
Do you-
can take
does the
questions.
voter support expanding the police district to go townwide and dissolve the former police district and go townwide to an estimated budget of,
I don't think you can do an estimated budget.
well, or a budget of.
Yeah, they're gonna wanna know what it's gonna cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wanna know what it's gonna.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
you can do that question, but we need to have a ton of stuff before
Right, and then
anyone
we'll get
sees
them-
that question.
They know what they're, at least a number. Said, no way in hell I'm gonna support that, or yeah, I support this. And then ready to go by March of '26, not 6 months later, but March of '26, a vote on the ballot. Do you support the town of Bristol budget of, for police department?
So are you saying two different types of vote? Because people get confused. People
Yeah.
think they.
First one,
voted
got
on
permission to get all this information. or-
No, we
Why do
don't
we
need
know?
permission to get the information.
this. We can get the information. And
Well, I don't think you're gonna have that all ready by November or by
Right,
September.
no, I think that's gonna be too quick.
Yeah.
But the biggest turnout for voters is the November
November.
24.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just wanna
No, I know.
get a feel. They turned it down
But
5
it's-
to 1. They
No,
don't
it's,
go.
I
They don't
think it's
bother.
too much, because I don't think,
You can't have them vote on it twice.
yeah. I know
They
what
will
I
you're
think you
get
could do a
confused.
poll. I think you could do a
Yes.
poll,
You could
but
do-
not a vote.
Yeah.
I mean, there just needs to
A
be,
poll with a number in it.
there needs to be education of where does that number come from? And
Right.
why, what's the advantage and disadvantage of,
I've heard
Going
nothing about
townwide.
this. All
You
I
can't just
see is
say-
you want $1 million police budget.
right,
No,
exactly. That's
It's-
not gonna
it's
work.
that simple.
I currently pay about nothing, so no.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I
And
mean,
they're
you,
gonna wanna know what their.
we have to educate the townspeople
You
as to
have to
what it's
sell it.
gonna cost
Yes.
them
Yeah,
and
not just educate them, you have to sell it.
So, and all in all, we're going at least 26 before you go in never governor's race and a primary or general election with no
General
president.
You're thinking in terms of that next date, in terms of the amount of voters. that-
Amount of voters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to do it in a November election and
Well,
not.
I don't know,
March.
if you really get that out there, those who are the police district, they're gonna come and vote, say yes.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to go townwide. Those outside of
Well,
town,
you say that, I talked to quite a few people, they were afraid they were gonna lose part of the service, so they
Yeah.
weren't willing to go.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
really do need to educate
Yeah.
everybody on what they're going to get if they choose to do this.
Yeah.
And, we, at some point, just like this community resource position, this is an investment into our community, and how do we want to invest in our community? So presenting it, we need to have what information
Yeah.
that is going to be best. I've been in law enforcement for 30 years, so I look at it differently than the average person.
Yeah.
So I need somebody to be able to say, from the general public's perspective, this is what type of information they're looking for. They want to understand it, so we can explain to them what they would get from a municipal police department compared to other types of law enforcement.
yeah, I mean, you're gonna look at people that are not in the police district and they're, unless you educate them, they're just looking at, yeah, my taxes are going up.
Yeah.
yeah,
But they would at least would be interested in coming to vote.
Right.
The question is getting them to come to be informational and getting the information and be educated so they can make an educational vote.
right.
And part of that would be like mailings, I think, to everyone. I think we-
Mailings, front porch forum.
Yeah.
As many ways as we
Informational
can get.
meetings.
Informational meetings, it's a multi-pronged.
So what did you find here in terms of the,
So the merger document does not specify Australian ballot. In fact, I think it envisions a floor votes.
To go townwide or to disband?
Any change. Change the district boundaries, go townwide.
Yeah, I don't-
Require a vote of both the village and,
I don't
The
think we can
district,
do
I should
that
say,
without
the
it being
district
an
and town.
Australian ballot.
say it again?
I don't think we can do that without it
Some
being.
interesting-
you could just get everyone from the village in
Right.
there. Yep, sounds good.
good.
Woohoo, all right. It's just- yeah, that's-
So the question is then
Yeah.
putting
Can't do
putting
that.
something in the warning authorizing the vote by Australian ballot.
But I think there's also wasn't there a disbanding of the district before a town-wide. How does that, where is that
You have to
come into play?
disband the village.
Such respective.
But can you
And
then lose your police
You
department?
sure can. If you disband it and then they don't vote to,
Yeah,
Well, that doesn't sound.
no, it doesn't.
Here's what it says, said special service district may be
Yeah, that's your
modified
plan.
with the separate approval of both the voters residing within said district as existing and the voters residing within any area proposed to be enlarged or diminished. So in other words, it could be something less than townwide, in other words. Such respective approvals
That's a
shall be
good-
expressed by affirmative vote of a majority of such voters present and voting at a special meetings thereof. However, the voters of the town of Bristol at an annual or special town meeting warned for the purpose may vote to abolish said special service district in favor of making the police department a townwide police department whose cost will become part of the general budget expense of the town of Bristol.
okay, so I don't know, I think I'm a little confused, or maybe I'm not, but it says may abolish said special service district. So if you vote to create a
favor.
special district,
It's
then you
kind of-
may vote to abolish it. You don't.
It's part of the same sentence. Shall voters abolish the district in favor of creating a townwide district?
Okay.
So it's all in one sentence.
So we won't lose our police department.
Right, it's not
Okay, good.
abolish and then maybe decide.
Pay attention,
townwide.
Bruce.
Job security.
Well, no, I was trying to figure out the special district.
Yeah,
So the village district or the village police district is considered the special
Yeah.
district.
Same
I was
as the
thinking they
water
were
and sewer.
saying
Yeah.
another special district, and I was like, what?
Because it's in the same merger document,
Right,
there's the sewer district and the water
I see.
district.
Okay.
And they're special districts.
okay.
Okay.
Can you-
Special service
Can you go
district.
down to subchapter 8 and make?
Because again, there's also the water and the sewer that
Yeah.
are above
Okay.
this.
All right, good. So yeah, if it fails a townwide, then it stays as the special
As the
district.
village,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So back to the question, maybe we don't need to obviously decide it tonight, but, you know, does a question need to go on the warning about Australian ballot for this topic? And maybe it's not for March, maybe it's for different.
I think that's a different,
I think so. I think keep it off this because we still need to figure out how we want to present it and, as you say, sell it. And tell that story.
Mhm.
But we do need the Australian ballot in terms of the civic service.
Yes.
Right.
Appropriations.
And I also have the article for establishing a recreation capital
Yeah.
equipment reserve fund and designating X dollars from the unassigned fund
Funds.
balance to it,
Yeah.
all in the same sentence.
Okay.
Okay, so we can move on to number 5. I didn't get a chance to look at them. The review the
Neither have I.
approval
I
of
didn't
December 18th, 2023 meeting minutes. Has
Yeah.
anyone had a chance to look
I
at
haven't.
them?
Yeah, only the 18th went out this
Put
afternoon.
that up till next meeting?
that's the only thing besides the budget. I want to see all these in.
Do we have to?
I mean, Sharon,
Oh, yeah, could you
don't want to see any pay orders next week.
Okay,
And then
Okay?
I can wait 2 weeks.
number 6 is authorize accounts payable warrant and any liquor or tobacco licenses.
I have a tobacco license for Maplefield.
And what's the number for the accounts payable? I don't have that in front of me.
$69,761. Come on, Sharon, you didn't know that right off your
I
head.
didn't have that right in front of me.
The reimbursement documentation that the select board signed some time ago, had to correct a number in it, so I reprinted it.
And
Just sign it again?
Or you
Yes,
do have to
please.
change it from $1,000 to $1 million?
No, it's just a small number, but still.
Yeah.
So can I have a vote for the tobacco license?
Oh, sorry.
And approve it?
So moved.
All those, yeah,
Second.
all those in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? There you go, Sharon. Sorry, I forgot about that part. That select board roundtable, Joel.
How we coming with NEMRIC? Have they started yet, or any calls to them yet?
I sent them documents last Thursday and we haven't heard from them. If I don't hear from them in the morning, then I'm gonna contact her and say, and she's supposed to be here Friday to go over some stuff as well.
Okay,
So we do have a little movement, but
okay. And Ian, you were absolutely right. I read that article on Vermont Digger about Norwich. You know, got in trouble because the subcommittees of the select board appointed didn't put out minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But does the energy and all them have minutes, meetings and? Okay.
Yeah,
And
they're all on the website.
they're all on the website, so people could verify them.
Yes.
Not say, well, we haven't sent them out because nobody wants them.
No,
They
they're
are
all,
available.
I think they're fairly up to date. I check them out.
There's one committee that I don't usually get minutes from. I
The
think
bike ped.
Yeah, there's at least one of them that I don't get regular minutes from.
Who are they? I'll talk to them.
I think it is Bike Ped.
Twists.
I'm just saying, we appointed that
Is
committee.
that the beat?
That's-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
And
usually get minutes.
Norwich
from
got
them. I get an
fined.
agenda, but I don't usually get minutes.
Okay, yeah, we're all up
Orange
to
got
date.
flying pretty good.
We're all up to date, and every committee that we have is recorded, and every video is posted on the website
Okay.
a few days after. So even if we don't officially have minutes, we have a video recording of the meetings.
Okay.
So,
Even more better.
yeah,
Even more better.
Yeah.
And then I had a police district, but we've already
And
discussed that.
Carol
so-
is working on catching up on some of the other older minutes.
great.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Peter?
We asked a question about short-term rentals, and I said I would ask the Department of Public Safety, and we should be receiving a 3-page memo.
God.
Memo,
Two-
3 pages.
good
Yeah.
Could be a good memo, come
Well,
on.
it's to the health officer. They don't currently do anything as far as enforcement. They don't do any inspections, but the new regulations require them, if there's a complaint, to do an inspection.
For who, the state or the health officer?
The state,
Okay.
the state will do the, but they don't have the manpower to do,
So who would they make a complaint to? To the?
they would
state
make a
level?
complaint to the health officer,
To the
and the
health
health
officer,
officer would forward it to
Okay.
the,
Oh, our health officer then
would forward it to them. And that's not a noise complaint, that's a,
A health.
Rats running through the golf.
yeah, it's a building complaint.
Yeah.
Public health safety.
The other thing that's just been passed down, is the new VOSHA regulations, which will, they said it's a 600-page document. And only about the last 100 pages, there's anything that need to be read, but it
By
will
who?
probably end up, you read it?
No, by who?
I don't know, but if this passes, it will affect our fire department, as far as what they have to do for, and it could be considerably expensive.
And this is for short-term rentals?
No, this is for
You missed a beat.
bullshit.
Oh, okay.
She got lost somewhere.
He's tired.
Yeah, because I was looking for an entry on the thing that we had talked about, the $1,000.
Brad, have you heard anything about the bullshit regulations?
That's not on here.
First I've heard of it.
Yeah, Director DeRosa brought it to our attention today, that it's in there, and there's a bunch of reporting and a bunch of new standards for volunteers, or not for volunteers, for.
You mean in the
For first
bill in the
responders.
legislature?
No, it's not a bill in the legislature,
Oh.
it's the VOSHA rules,
Oh, rules are changing.
Yeah.
For employees,
yeah.
for the.
Have an
example?
I don't right offhand. Eric was at that meeting and heard it too, so you might want to touch base with him. He might have better information than I do.
Eric Forand or?
Yeah.
Code?
Eric Porn.
No, I did have one action with
Oh,
him.
one other one?
That's all I have.
Go ahead, Joel.
Remember, and I thought it's a great idea, Eric, 4 or 5 meetings ago, mentioned about trying to get high school kids more involved in taking a truck, and just want to make sure, because I am on this safety news alert I get from National, from OSHA, and they actually find a company that they were hiring 14-year-olds, or they were working or something,
Well, these people wouldn't be working or paid.
but we just gotta make sure they're, insurance-wise, if they got something happened over there, and one of them got hit or backed into, or that we're covered, that's all.
We did check in with the LCT.
Okay,
Yeah, and they provided some guidance.
all right, good, thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I had, Laura, thank you.
Michelle?
I think I'm good.
Ian?
Couple things, working on the town report, I've got a lot of the civic organization reports. We usually didn't do that, we would just receive what we received, but I actually reached out to some of the organizations. I felt it's good information to have in the report for each of the organizations that we support in terms of appropriations. So we've got a lot more response than we've had in the past, which is good. It makes the report a little bit longer, but it only adds like $140 to the.
I thought he was gonna say 140 pages.
Well, no, it's, well, I'm up to 147 now. And I'm not saying that we need to keep them in. We could do something where outside civic organizations are linked to a document on the website if we wanted to. It doesn't add a tremendous amount to the printed part of it, but obviously I'm
20 more pages than last year.
Yes, oh yeah, no, and most of them are because those organizations usually don't provide anything to us, and, you know, I'm interested in learning about those organizations, and I think each one of them have submitted a good report.
Well, if we're asking people to vote by Australian ballot, they might want to know a little bit more.
Yeah, and I try to do that with the breakdown of appropriations that we have in the past couple reports, just to give a little bit of information about it, each organization, but their yearly report obviously gives more detail. So I'm working through that. Obviously, a lot of stuff is still in progress in terms of the budgets, in terms of reports and things like that. But it's coming together nicely. I reached out to, who did I reach out to? Randy for the bus shelter, and this would be for moving the shelter into position for next to the Walgreens. And he said that would be about $400, and that would be craning it onto one of his trucks, taking it over and then dropping it in the location. Obviously it's snow there now, so it's probably not gonna happen for a while because they also need to do asphalting around there. But that was about $400, and that would be an ARPA fund charge.
Yeah, but you're probably not gonna happen till the spring with that.
No, I know. They're a little bit worried, I guess, the Parmala folks, just because there is like a big ditch and hole there now.
Yeah. I saw that.
But, and now it's covered in snow, so it's harder to see.
Wednesday it'll be clean.
Okay.
It'll be clean.
Hopefully 47 and rain.
So yeah, we're working on that. Anything else I've been working on? I think that's it. Just the bus shelter continues. We got I don't remember if I updated you, we got the approved Act 250 amendment. And we still have, Kevin Harper is interested in having the other bus shelter over at the Firehouse Apartments location. It would be on his land. He'd like to see a little bit more design to the shelter that could actually protect from weather elements.
Did we kind of say that?
Yes, we kind of said that. And
I
so,
wonder where that's coming.
and so that would, yeah, but he's still interested in having that. But again, even for that location, same thing, an Act 250 amendment has to happen, and maybe I would handle that since I did the other one for the Parmala location. But
Are you gonna file those in the land records? You really should.
They have to be.
okay, how do I
Technically,
do that? I think
Do you
it,
have the
Have
amendment?
the final one?
You have the final.
I think it came to, did it come to you as well?
I don't remember seeing one for the bus shelter. I
Okay,
usually get Act 250 ones, but I haven't seen any
I don't know,
after
do you
I
that.
get
haven't
the
either.
amendments? You get the original, so.
No, I've got
I get the
amendments
amendments
too.
too.
okay. I'll send it to you. It came to a lot of random people, and I thought maybe you were on that list. Yeah, I don't know. I think Porter got it for some reason, and she's not even like in a butter. She's like, is this important? Do you need? And I said, no, I have that, but I don't know why she was on there.
Yeah, if you forward it to me, we'll record it in the land records.
And maybe it's
so
something to do
there.
with way back when it was originally developed, but yeah, but there were a lot of random people on this. I thought maybe that you were on that. Okay,
Yeah, I
I will
don't remember
forward that.
seeing one from there.
Okay. Yeah, so just that, and then the town report, and I think that was it.
Okay, thanks. Just a thank you for you guys for filling in for me last meeting. I hung on as long as I could till we went over the mountain and hit all the snow and rain. But no, I appreciate you doing that for me. I don't have anything else to add this evening.
Well, I thought you made an amazing effort considering you were en route with the phone and trying to follow all of the bouncing balls.
It wasn't easy. I was
Yeah.
telling you, there were parts where I was like, what are they talking about? But I was really trying. I was really
Yes,
trying.
it was quite evident that you were.
Yeah, when we headed over by Mount Washington, that's when I lost you. That's fair. That's fair. Town administrators report.
Just a quick update on the Firehouse Drive lighting, street lights,
good.
or lack thereof. Craig Jennings with Naylor and Breen has been very diligent in trying to sleuth the source of the problem. And from what he can tell, there's just a lack of a wire between the something and the pole.
So an
And
extension cord,
it's
essentially, is what
something,
he's
but
saying.
down at the other end of the road where by Glittersdorf's, the new building going up,
Where the lights actually work.
where
Right here.
there's just nothing there. There's, if there's a conduit, there's nothing in it,
There's nothing in one conduit to the next
to
pole
the pole.
going
Yeah.
north.
And so Eric Coda and I,
Right.
They didn't pull the wire all the
Yeah.
way.
Eric Coda and I are going to
These go
meet with
south.
Craig on Thursday sometime. And he's gonna show us what he's talking
Okay.
about. And he's been working with
The rest of these are
Omega
all-
Electric.
Are all wired in.
Yeah.
This didn't get wired.
And they're sleuthing, and what they're, currently, what they're proposing is do a new conduit. Because the old one, if there is a conduit, it might be under the sidewalk, or we're not really sure where it is.
You could
you
blow
gotta
air
put
through
them
it
on
and see if
it.
it's
Yeah,
open.
why don't we just,
Yeah.
if there's conduit there, can't they just
Well,
figure
they
out?
they don't,
This is,
can't find it. And
he
so,
described it to me was, yeah, the two pedestals, and they're all hooked together except the one that, first one that lights to the south and the first one that doesn't light to the north, there's no wire in that conduit.
right.
The conduits are there?
Yeah,
They
he said
don't-
there's.
They're not really sure, they can't find the boxes, they can't
in
find
the
the
ground, they
actual
can't find them.
things.
Yeah, they should be just round.
He showed me the map the other day, I was in his office
Somebody
actually,
didn't pull it
Friday the
all the way
21st.
through.
Yeah.
Wish
I
them all
pulled it
Merry
partially
Christmas.
and didn't pull it the rest of the way. So
Interesting.
that means somebody didn't inspect it before they got buried.
Although it was tested, Alan Heinziger confirmed with Jacob Sprague, who was the resident engineer at the time, that because the poles hadn't been energized by Green Mountain Power, that Don Weston used a generator to power the lamps, the streetlights, and they worked.
So how could that be?
I don't know.
It was a miracle.
Well, so the current proposal is
There's no digging
That-
across there though.
a new conduit be installed in the green space, if we can do that, and just put a new thing in and connect it. And so that would
So
involve
have to
some
dig
sort
it
of,
out.
it would have to be dug.
Yeah.
And so, in the green space, trying not to disrupt the sidewalk, especially at this time of year. So, Eric and I are gonna go down on Thursday at some point and see how that might be able to be accomplished. Craig asked if there's some way that the town could actually do the excavation. But Eric and I chatted today about it, and the town's bucket is pretty wide. And it might not be small enough to fit into that green space. So
Do we
he's,
know if there's any infrastructure in that green space?
We'll have
That's
to
a
do big
public
six.
city.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Big save.
There's,
Craig had also told me
Maybe
he
they'll
was
find
hoping to
maybe they'll find the
dig,
conduit.
start in the middle and go this way until they find a conduit and go this way and find a conduit.
Yeah, and
Then
then you
hook
can
on
just
it.
put in the piece and then.
Put in the piece in the middle. That's what we talked about. Like I said, I
did he
But if
try
it's
to
under the
blow through them to
sidewalk,
see, or?
I don't know, Peter. I didn't get that far with him. He showed me the map and everything.
so that's the update on that.
And
Okay.
the other
Was there
update he
anything
told
else?
me was, Bluesfork, Dave is not very happy with the infrastructure because,
The drains are higher than the pavement.
well, that and, those lights are all on Bluesforce's, meter. The lights down through, they're all on, these lights that are lit go into a box right here that go to Dave's building.
Well, when he
Can't
puts
they
in
put in
his,
a separate
when he
meter?
puts in his meter, it should come off his building. He only has temporary power in there.
So I don't know. but-
Right, because it's a town road, so it's part of our,
And there's a meter panel over by the apartments.
Okay.
That's where those things should be
well,
powered.
so.
Yeah, but it's not, because
I
they're
didn't
getting
get too
power
much
from
involved.
the
I just
south
said,
end.
Right.
Are you ever gonna get those lights figured out? He goes, come in my office and I'll show you what.
Are we supposed to be paying for those lights? Cause I
Yes.
don't think we've had
Right.
anything added to our bill.
Well, they haven't been on,
No,
except for the
The
last
two or
two.
three, and they've been on Dave's bill.
Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you, Dave. Send him a thank you letter,
Thank you,
please.
I said, just tie these in with that one, Dave.
Is there anything else?
Okay, so the only other thing is just a little update on my schedule. Given the weather that's expected tomorrow night and Wednesday morning, rather than working from home tomorrow, I'll plan to come in tomorrow, not quite early, but,
Try to make it
and
in
work.
by noon.
Yeah.
You
But I'll
might
plan to work
wanna,
from home on Wednesday.
you might wanna watch and make sure you get out early, because we're
Yeah.
supposed to have high winds and heavy snow.
Right, right, so, plan around 10 o'clock-ish and then leave around 3. That's my plan for tomorrow.
Makes sense. Okay, any other business correspondence reports? Correspondence received?
Nope, I don't think so.
Just a couple
We do
things
have a
to
very
see.
quick executive session, very quick.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
I guess the only under other business is to acknowledge the hiring of the new library director.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
I saw on the kickoff.
Library director.
Oh, they
One from the
they
meeting.
hired somebody?
Yep.
Yeah, she was the New Haven
She
librarian.
was a New Haven librarian. She's young.
She's
She
very
got,
young.
she was great. That was part of the interview process.
Oh, good, good, good. You had several applicants, right?
We interviewed 6 people.
Wow, that's great for a librarian.
Does anybody want to be a zoning administrator?
Yeah.
Reach out to them.
Ian, you would be a great zoning administrator.
Well, if our zoning regulations were understandable, and weren't missing little bits of them here and there.
You probably might not be aware that the Bristol core director stepped down.
Oh, Alicia?
Yeah.
How's too bad.
She moved on somewhere else, or?
Too much for what she's balancing in her life.
Well, she's, yeah,
So she
she's
did
got
it,
two young
she did it for a
kids.
year.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Between a business, 2 little active ones.
Right.
The girls are great.
If you happen to cross them again.
So yeah, if you know anyone interested in running a nonprofit downtown group, let me know.
Good night, guys. Have a good one.
Night,
Thanks,
Dan. Do you want me to make a motion?
Yes, please, I was just gonna
I
ask
thought
you.
you already
Do your
had.
thing. No. Make a motion, we enter into an executive session for 1 VSA section 303, real estate contract negotiations. Correct.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, okay.